Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast 572. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. I'm joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. And once again, Mr. Ryan Niemiller has joined us. You're back again?
And I'm angry.
He's angry.
I'm angry at everyone. I'm angry at Nintendo. I'm angry at Xbox. This week I'm angry at Sony. I'm angry at you guys, apparently. I'm told
Steam's
I was
probably
supposed
next.
to.
Steam's probably next, right?
Steam, you're screwed. Everybody.
This would be the next one.
I'm mad at Disneyland for being expensive for my son's birthday on Wednesday. I'm mad at everything.
There you go. We kick off, we always do, at what we've been playing. The biggest release this week will be Doom: The Dark Ages. I played an hour, so I've not played much of it, partially because I've had a lot going on this week, so I haven't had a chance to really dive into it. But I will say what I have played of it, the opening, the introduction of the game, it's good. It hasn't really grabbed me yet like the other Dooms. And I think the biggest issue I have with it is, and I was telling you today earlier, Matt, like the actual gameplay, very, very good. It's different than Doom Eternal. They fixed a lot of the problems I had with Doom Eternal, which it was too vertical. This game is very much a stand and fight. It does a really good job of making you feel like a walking tank, which is cool because that's what the Slayer should feel like. But the music is a huge downgrade in my opinion because they don't. So I don't know if anybody knows, like the first two Doom reboot games were done by Mick Gordon. Those are incredible soundtracks, and like normally I wouldn't harp on music in a game that much, but those two games, like that is a huge component of these Doom reboot. This whole trilogy is the music. Here it's not bad, but it's very muted and very like it's very sludgy metal and not like just in your face. Like I would say the best way I could describe it, I don't know if it's going to play for any of you here, but it's not like the first two very much sounds like Meshuggah. This does not. This is just very sludgy, like stoner metal so far. And like again, it's not bad, but like when you put that and tie that to what I would say is the most metal as fuck Doom game, because it's medieval, it's like you're running around with a shield, like it is as metal as you can be. There are dragons and shit going on. I still haven't wrapped my head around what's going on in the story. It's weird. From what I can tell you, and like I've always looked at the Doom franchise as like the story is kind of bullshit anyways, and these new ones it makes fun of itself. It doesn't take itself seriously. But this one, it's like there's a human faction, there's a hell faction, but there's a third faction that controls the Slayer, and he is somehow like manipulated by this third faction as almost a weapon. So when that game opens, this medieval like town is being overtaken by the demons, and then the humans go to this other faction like, we really need him. You need to send him in. And they literally beam him from space into this fucking medieval thing. And then you play through the first level, just tearing everything up and stopping the invasion. And that's literally all I've played. It feels like if you were to look at, and I know this is an influence on this trilogy, but like this very much feels like the Army of Darkness to the other two Evil Deads. That's what this game feels like to me. It's still bloody as hell. It's a Doom game. Like I'll have a lot more to say about it, but like my initial impressions are like I'm enjoying it. I enjoy it. It's a little bit. It is slower paced, but also faster paced at the same time. Which doesn't make sense. But I've seen a lot of people complain online it's too slow. I'm like, you're literally running it when you sprint. It's 200 speed. Like you're going really fast, and then bashing people with shields and shit. So I'll have a lot more to say about it next next time we record, though, because like I said, I've only played an hour, but my initial impressions are like it's good, but it hasn't like really sucked me in like the other two have. So we'll see. Other than that, and that was kind of the big thing, is I've been playing more of Oblivion. I finished the main, story of Oblivion on the PS5 version. The very last part of that game, I don't know if did you ever beat Oblivion, Dan, back in the day?
Yeah.
No, like the story. Okay, the very, very end of that game, when you give Martin the amulet and then he has to break it, and he becomes like that dragon, fight the other like big titan. That ran like shit on the 360.
Right, of course.
It still runs like shit in this remaster.
Same game, man.
It is just a frame rate fucking terrible mess like the whole time, because and it's literally the minute you walk into that corridor at the end, it's like kind of an outdoor but like enclosed space. That frame rate just tanks, and I'm like, it just reminded me once again, like they didn't do anything to fix any of those problems.
It's not a remaster.
Wrapped it into Unreal 5 and said, "Here you go," which I'm not complaining. It's the best kind of nostalgia. So, but I'm still really enjoying that game, and I still think, like, having played it again, having played this version, I still like that the most out of all of the Elder Scrolls game, probably all of the Bethesda RPGs, honestly. So, still a tremendous game, and I'm glad they brought it back for a new generation of people that never played that. And there's a ton of people now that their only knowledge of Elder Scrolls is Skyrim, so because they released that 37 times.
Yeah, exactly. Which version of Skyrim is their knowledge base? Which version
is the definitive? Yeah,
the 5th anniversary, the 10th anniversary.
We're coming up to 15th pretty soon, so
it'll get re-released.
I think it's fair to say that the definitive version has not been released yet.
No, sure.
They're always improving on themselves. That's we
got to get a Switch 2 version, right? Like,
oh, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, but is that just the Switch version with extra upgrades?
Probably.
Ooh. So it's not a version. It's not the remastered version for these consoles. It's a remastered of the Switch version.
There you go.
That'll work.
And then the last thing that I played more of, and I don't really have more to say on it other than it's a good time crunch, is that it's not supermarket simulator. It's grocery store simulator. But as I've said in the past, I like this one more, because I can control more of what's going on in the store. I'm at the point now where I've expanded it so much. I have different departments. So like I have a frozen section, I have a bakery section. I'm hoping in a future update they can do a deli. I think that'd be really cool. I haven't seen any of these simulator games.
The slicer.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these games do that
yet.
Yet.
A little thing where they pulled a number and the number's like 50 away from the actual number. So they have to go up there. They have to wait that number up 50 times. Yeah.
But I really like this game. And it's typically my Sunday afternoon game. So I come in the office, I play that, and I watch a bunch of YouTube videos. So, but that pretty much covers what I've been playing. So I will kick it over to you, Dan.
So the main thing is I finished the story of Clair Obscur. That game. So I keep going back and forth. Like, is it my game of the year? Is it not? And the more I think about it, the more I really feel like it is.
Yeah.
Just because it's really between that and Indiana Jones. But I think with Indiana Jones, even though it was like a new thing, it's still a known quantity. Mm-hmm. Like, I get what I'm expecting to get out of an Indiana Jones game, and I got what I wanted, and it was great. This is such a thing that's like completely out of left field by a small French studio. It's a turn-based RPG that's like Final Fantasy X and all these old classics, and every single thing about it just works. It's insane how good all of it is.
Started by a guy that worked at Ubisoft that was bored of working there, right? That's what I read.
Yeah. And
started a studio. No, I can't.
He was working on Assassin's Creed 35 and decided he didn't want to do that anymore.
Probably.
Yeah, it's just like every aspect of this game is incredible. So I did finish it. I told you before, like there's a twist relatively early on, which it's kind of weird because I see a lot of this stuff come up on like my Instagram feed and all this stuff where nobody's really even like spoiling that part of it, which is good.
Yeah, I've
crazy
had zero
because
spoilers.
it's a big thing, and like, I really haven't seen any spoilers. But so there's that twist, which kind of plays into some other stuff, and then you get through Act 2, and then that's when you kind of get like the next reveal. I will say that the reveal is good, and it does pay off, and it does the paintress gets explained and everything kind of gets explained. It's a tiny bit cliche, but the more I think about it, I don't think it could have worked another way than they did it. So it's fine. And you do get the payoff, and it does explain a lot of stuff, and it explains the driving force for the ending of the game, and kind of everything you've seen before comes into focus. So it's good because there's no like leftover stuff. There are 2 different endings, which I didn't realize until
I didn't know that either
until I had finished it. They're not really super different, and it really just there's one choice you make at the end to do one final thing. And when you beat it, you can go back and do that if you want, because it puts you like right before that. I will say that I picked the one that I wanted to pick, but in retrospect, it's probably the bad ending. But I will say that the good ending isn't great in terms of, and not great in terms of like quality, but more in terms of like, man, that kind of sucks for the characters involved. There's not really like a satisfying resolve to the story, but I guess it kind of depends on how you look at it. So now I'm just like going through all of the extra like side content and like all the bonus stuff. Holy shit, there's so much extra stuff to do. All these other places that you would never have to go to ever. Like you just it's completely optional. You go in there, get absolutely wrecked. Can't go here, and I have to go over here and do this instead.
Did you ever find out about fast travel?
There is none.
There isn't. So there's not even something you can unlock. Huh?
No, eventually you unlock an ability to travel faster, but not fast travel. And it's okay because the map isn't so big that it's annoying. It's just sometimes it's like, well, I want to go back here, and you got to go all the way back over there. But there's a way to traverse later on that it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so like I'm finding places. Eventually, like it's not really a spoiler, I guess, but eventually you gain the ability to fly. So there's a whole bunch of stuff like up above you never saw before. So there's other places that go up here, and other little quests to do, and other collectibles, and you get more story. And yeah, it's great. It's so good. I just got to level 66 yesterday.
Did you see there's a 99? 99 trophy. So
yeah. I will say this: if you're gonna play it, or when you play it,
be in July.
Don't focus on like, oh, all this stuff opened up, I have to go do all the side content. Don't play the game like that. It's meant to be more you play through the story and then follow where the game wants you to go. You can take little breaks here and there, and like they'll make sense because they're kind of like in the same area where you are.
Sure.
But there's eventually you get to a point where like you can find this island or go over here, and you're really not supposed to. If you do that and you spend a lot of time leveling, you'll kind of walk through the end part. Because it I would say the story is properly scaled, but everything else is not. But yeah, it's far better experience, I think, to do that and then go, because the other thing too is like when you beat the story and you have and you hit the twist and you know what's going on. The side content makes more sense. Like if you went to go do something before, you'd run into something where it might not have been explained to you yet.
I don't get what's going on here.
You don't quite understand why it is the way it is. But now that I know, it makes perfect sense. And you know, in July when you finally beat it, we can finally talk about.
In July is when what like happens. Probably mid-July.
Because it is an interesting kind of discussion about maybe how it ends or what happens. I'd like to see other people's takes on it because, like I said, it's a little cliche, but it's
I think
how
for
it has
all the goodwill the game has, just from what I've seen, like
you asked me last time, could there be a sequel? And I said I don't think so in the traditional sense of like after finishing it, not to this game. You could
be
maybe
more
do
of a spiritual successor or
something similar with something with the universe because there's this other aspect of things.
I mean, I'm at the point where I'd probably just rather see those people make something different.
Yeah, I would love to see them
like
make
another RPG, but
make another RPG. It doesn't have to play the same and like obviously new characters, new music stuff, but like they have established themselves as like a fucking power. Like somebody needs to back whatever the next thing they make is because like this is crazy. I did see somewhere that DLC is being talked about.
I saw that
which is great, and there's plenty of ways to add DLC to this game without it not making sense. Because sometimes games will do that after the fact. Where you're like, You can't really put DLC in this game, but you did anyway. But okay, this game you could really put it in anywhere and do whatever.
So you're saying it was a complete experience for $50?
Oh, but beyond a complete experience, it's
okay.
It is one of the more fleshed out games I've played in probably the last decade.
Okay.
And considering you're going to be paying $70 for a Donkey Kong game or $80 for Mario Kart.
Yeah.
This game is far beyond that in value.
Yeah.
This is a game that should have been $70.
I am super excited to play it in July after Death Stranding, but I'm very excited to play it. I'm at the point where I'm ready for an RPG. It's been long enough that I just haven't had a chance. So
this is a thing too, where like if you haven't played an RPG in a long time, this is like the perfect one to play because it is
completely understood
everything you want. So fantastic game. I got to do the grind. The grind involves, climbing a tower and going to this other place, which is to be fair, I accidentally went to what I found out later is the super boss chamber.
Okay.
But I walked into it and it looked like it was going to be a bad time. So I just turned around.
Oh, okay.
I'm not supposed to be here, kind of a thing. And so, but then I was looking up like a trophy guide later, and it turns out that that's where you have to go. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's going to be the grind for the next probably month to finish it off. But so I played a lot of that.
Balatro.
I played a lot of Balatro. Okay. That's the game where, like, you've heard about it a bunch and you kind of have an idea, just like when people are, it's a poker, like, roguelike kind of a thing. Like, that could be fun.
They threw it on Game Pass, maybe 2 months ago, and I briefly tried it, and it was one of those things where once I tried, I'm like, man, this would be the perfect, like, Steam Deck game. So I ended up just buying it on Steam. It was on a sale anyway. And I played it, like, there was like 2 weeks where that's like, I played a lot of it, and then I haven't gone back. But, like, that game is really good.
I have
very addictive,
far too much of it, because they put it on Plus for free.
Put it on Plus,
like,
I have it.
Like I own it. I just never installed it or whatever off the disc. But if it's going to be a digital thing, sure, I'll just download and play it.
Yeah.
I played the first night I played it. I probably played it for like 4 fucking hours. Because you just want to keep going.
You do.
And like a
it's
run, like you'll fail a run kind of early, but like I could do that better and restart it. And like figuring out the jokers and like figuring out the best combinations of jokers. I'm like, you can set up some crazy shit in that game where you earn far too much money than you should be. But that's the fun of the game is figuring out these weird, like I think I told you I got a combination where you could make a straight with just 4 cards, which is huge in that game. Because sometimes your hand will get cut down when you don't get as many cards. Yeah. Then I also had a joker where it's like, if you only play 4 cards, you get a bonus. Yeah. And then I had another thing where it's like, you can make a straight, but you can skip numbers. So instead of having me like 10, 9, 8, 7, I could be like 10, 8, 7, 6. Yeah. So those 3 things alone made it where like I can make straights all the time, like every hand. Yeah. And then there's jokers where it's like, well, every time you make a straight, the multiplier goes up by 1. Or then you can get a joker that doubles the card next to it. So it's just like you can start to make insane things happen.
It's ridiculous.
But it's so addictive because you finish a run, you're like, I can do another one won't take that long. And then you realize like if you get on a good one, it could take like a half hour.
It can't I was like, I was only gonna play 5 more minutes and then you're stuck.
Yeah, and then I'm playing till 1 o'clock and I'm like, whoops. But yeah, that's the thing too, where like if I'm not looking to fantastic Plus game. I mean, it's only like $15-$20.
It's not an expensive game. I think it's a little bit more for that physical version, but they don't have like cards or some Joker cards.
You get some of the Jokers in it, which is
pretty
cool.
I have it. I didn't open it.
Yeah, I think physical was $29.99 when it first came out.
I think I got it on Woo for
you got it for both of us. I remember that.
I got it on GameStop. Remember
Black
over
Friday.
Holidays, GameStop was like, it was one of those games where it was like $15.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I might as well just buy Balatro for 15 physical,
because I think you got me that in Dead Island too. So
so
one day.
But so fantastic game. And that's the kind of game where like if I'm watching wrestling or something on the other TV, you can play Balatro pretty easily at the same time, because there's no time or anything. You have time to think between moves and all that stuff,
which is nice.
Played a lot of that. And the last like new thing I really played, because you and I, we played a lot of the same crap we've been playing. But I played that Cuisinier game, which is like half dungeon crawl, half restaurant sim kind of a thing.
Yeah, kind of like a Dave the Diver almost.
A little bit, yeah, where like you have to go out and get ingredients by killing stuff and then come back and then you open your restaurant and you make the dishes. It's pretty solid. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't say like it's a spectacular game by any means, but it at least feeds the gameplay loop of, I need to go get stuff and then come back and run the restaurant to get money to upgrade the restaurant so I can have more places to put stuff. And,
what's in that box? For that, because I bought it too. Like after you talking about it, and I haven't opened it. It's just
it's like a big book of like the recipes.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And then there's something else in it too, but it's just I think that was the only version there was.
Okay.
I think that was like the day one thing, but I can't imagine it sold super well. So apparently it's been on Steam for like a year and a half.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's definitely, when you play it, it's definitely like, oh yeah, this is a Steam game.
This was on Steam, yeah.
Yeah, this was on Steam for sure.
All right.
But it's very chill. Like the dungeon aspect is not difficult.
Okay.
It's the thing you'll hate the most early on is backpack space is incredibly limited. So pro tip,
always
just upgrade the fuck out of that thing immediately because you need to be able to carry not only just like food, like ingredients, but you need to get wood and stone and the other kind of wood and the other kind of stone and this other thing and then turn all that in so I can make furniture.
What is the other kind of wood? Because I'm starting to get a little excited over here just hearing about this.
This game's rated E. Calm it down.
E for ew.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like and the dungeons are randomized. Like they're essentially the same. It's just you may not go north the next time you go into it. You may go east instead.
Okay.
You can take a lot of hits. You're not going to die super easy. You can bring stuff with to get health back, but I really don't see a point to that because I get my ingredients bag gets full. Even with the upgrades, it gets so full so fast that I generally leave before I even get to the end. And then running the restaurant part is, I will say it's a little too simplified because what happens is somebody will come in, they'll seat themselves at a table, and then they'll sit there for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then it'll pop up what they want.
Okay.
There's a couple things about it that don't necessarily need to be this way, but they are. But like they'll only order stuff you can make. So if let's say you're missing an ingredient for something, they will not order that, which kind of seems dumb because there should be something
that's
where
different
it's like,
than Dave the Diver.
Yeah, because like I should in theory have to stock everything so that everything that is possible could be chosen. So there could be a penalty or something aligned with that. There really isn't. When you go to cook something, it's a little weird because you'll go to like somebody wants fried chicken or whatever, so you go to the fryer and you just tell it make fried chicken. It just does it itself. And then when it's done, it automatically puts the prepared food on like the counter and then they come and get it themselves and then sit back down.
Okay.
Like in the beginning, I thought that I had to deliver it, which makes a little more sense because in theory I'm running the restaurant.
Yeah.
But so I would try to do that, but then they would just get it themselves. I'm like, oh, then why don't I just let them do it themselves? But again, that seems a little too easy for that kind of a thing. But maybe that's what the point of it is. And then, and you just kind of queue up the food and it cooks itself. There's no effort required, which is kind of a bummer because not that I'm saying I want it to be like incredibly in depth, but even like a level of like Cooking Mama where I have to chop something would at least be a task I have to do, and maybe that could be at the level
of like the people that make that what's that
Overcooked.
Overcooked. I was thinking,
where you just have to hold A to chop something.
Yeah, at least you're still doing something.
Like you don't have to plate anything.
Yeah,
and you don't have to wash any dishes. When they're done, the dish disappears, and they just get up and they come pay. So there's aspects of it that are missing.
It's just too simplified, basically.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's because it's for maybe for younger kids. Because Overcooked, if you've played enough Overcooked, you get real fucking complicated at a certain point.
It gets really complicated. Yes.
Overcooked is also a good way to have your marriage become complicated.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Because I need the fucking lettuce, but there's no plates.
We don't play that game in this house anymore.
Yeah. But but it's pretty fun. It's very simple, and if you like that kind of like loop, it's a good example of it. It is a little too easy to earn money because they pay a lot for. Again, I'm not doing very much, and and the thing is too, it's like they come in and they seat themselves, and if all the tables are full, people will still come in and they'll wait. If they don't get one at a certain point, they'll leave. but there's no like real penalty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I'm making a mistake if I can't seat someone.
Okay.
Because so it's a dumbed down version. Like, and the other thing about it, like, there's quests where the people are like, I need 5 fried eggs. You're like, all right, fine. So you go cook 5 fried eggs, give it to them, and then they'll give you another recipe. That's kind of how you get more stuff.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but it's fun. I'll probably play through enough of it to like just get the platinum and be done, and probably never play it again. But
it's only listed as partially playable on the Steam Deck. That's kind of interesting.
I can't imagine any
why that would be a hard game. Yeah, right.
That would not run on a Steam Deck.
No.
It's literally like mashing square and triangle and L1 and R1, and that's about it.
That seems like it'd be tailor made for that.
It feels like it would run better on a Steam Deck than an actual computer.
And I would just say briefly, like, well, we don't need to discuss it. We have played more Saints Row. 3 remastered? I still will put out the PSA. Do not buy that version of the game. It is garbage.
So
it is
bad.
A broken mess.
We're convinced now that our save file is broken.
It's fucked because every time that we move around in the world, we are constantly getting shot at either by the cops or the gangs or both. They never go away. If we use the thing where it's like you can call your homie up and he'll take them off you, that might last for about 30 seconds. We've done nothing. Like, I haven't fired a gun.
I haven't stolen a car. Haven't bumped
into
around
a corner.
Nothing.
Oh shit! The cops are after me again. Like, it's just I don't
weird.
get it.
In fairness, that's how my real life is.
Well,
second I leave this house, man,
everybody's
out trying to kill me, but they can't do it, baby.
But we've seen so many dumb things. We've fallen through the map. There was the thing where you guys.
That also happens to me. I go outside, I just fall through the earth, and I can see where the assets that aren't being used or loaded yet are just hanging out. That's my life.
But it's just I cannot recommend anyone buy that version of the game at all. Like it's I have to look up the 4th one. I still haven't done it. I'm kind of afraid.
I'm not. I'm telling you right now, when we finish this, we're not moving to Saints Row 4.
No, it is Killer Clowns. It's Killer Clowns time.
I fucking cannot play more of this franchise right away.
No, it's so Killer Clowns time because that'll probably be shut off soon.
We need to get to that immediately.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
No, nothing. I'm just filler stuff. Ran through a couple more rounds of Marvel Snap. WWE 2K25 put out their first DLC, the New Wave Pack. So you got Motor City Machine Guns, Julia, Stephanie Vaquier, and I think is it I Show Speed? Hold on. 25 deals.
Was he ended up being the first celebrity guest thing?
I want to say
I forgot.
It makes sense, but God, I fucking hated that.
I mean, just to watch him get murdered, I think is worth it.
Wasn't enough.
For me, it was like if you're gonna do a celebrity thing because it's gonna happen, I at least give him credit that like
he took one hell of a fucking murdered him. Like he took it.
You know, like with the history of celebrity appearances in wrestling history, what you could do far worse than what happened.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, he got hammered, and I think he said the next day he had a headache for like 2 days.
Yeah,
which I mean,
I want to say it's either him or KSI. I can't remember, but I didn't play as either one. I didn't even look at them because I was too enamored with Stephanie and Julia to worry about those two.
You pervert.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what half of wrestling is.
But yeah, they all play really well. It's still been a fun game to just kind of run through, like just to do random matches here and there. So it's nothing too crazy. But I did go ahead and restart Tunic.
Okay.
Since I finally got another Switch in my pocket now.
All right.
And I haven't really gotten too far into it. I'm maybe like 45 minutes to an hour into it. Nothing too crazy. But I mean, it plays well. Like I was originally playing it on the Xbox One, and so I think I'm not too far into the Xbox One version, which made me just say go ahead and just switch over to the Switch and just continue doing it there. But I did get the collector's version for the Switch. I think you sent it to me, if I remember correctly. I think at one point at Best Buy.
I think so. Actually,
I snagged that one. So it's got like there's like a soundtrack you can like a full soundtrack to the game.
Yeah, I think doesn't it also like the instruction manual kind of emulates the like original Zelda.
Yeah,
and instruction. That's cool.
Yeah, it's I mean it's a really fun game.
The game is cool, Sal.
I enjoy it. But that's really it. That's just me in a nutshell. I was just kind of playing through random stuff, nothing too crazy. I do want to jump in Claire Obscure, though, because the way Dan keeps talking about it piqued my interest.
So good, man.
I do too. But
I did music, the characters, it's everything.
I put in the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster into my Switch. I didn't touch anything. I just put it in.
You text me about it. You're like, what order should I play these in? Yeah. Like, well... It's like Star Wars. There's 2 orders.
Yeah.
You can play them in
I did start the first one.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and see. And I turned it on and I started it. And then I was like, no, I don't think I want to get into this yet.
The first one, I was like Sony, the first one's kind of rough because that game does no hand-holding at all. Like, it is basically, you'll get
you have to
very slight clues of like, they did this thing this direction, and that's all you'll get.
Yeah.
And two is very similar to that. It kind of builds on a little bit. 3 is a little more focused, but that's when they add jobs, so it's different. 4 is when it becomes what it is now.
Gotcha.
Where like it is a story with dedicated characters, and you're playing through this thing that has been created. So if you want to experience like a Final Fantasy experience, 4 is probably a better way to start. And maybe go back, play 4, 5, and 6, and then go back to 1, and you'll have a better idea of like what the point
Maybe
is.
I'll do that since originally Final Fantasy 8 is my favorite one of all time, so we'll just go with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would say if it were me just telling somebody to start, I'd say 4 is probably the best place to start.
Okay.
Yeah, I might jump to that whenever I get done with Tuna.
And having replayed 5, a lot of people I don't think like 5, but having just recently replayed it because that thing 5 is actually a lot better game than I thought it was. So I would say you can play all 3 of those.
Did you do 6 yet, Dan, or no?
No, I got to do 6 still. Okay. 6 I didn't start because it's by far the longest of that thing.
I was going to say because you hate Kefka.
Well, Kefka, I fucking hate Kefka.
Dude, Dan, you are notoriously scared of clowns.
Sucks. I do hate clowns. That guy
surprising
sucks.
you want to play killer clowns.
Yeah. Well, I want to kill the clowns.
You're a brave boy.
But 6 is just like at best it's at worst it's twice the length of these other games. So it's like I'll get to it at some point, but too much other stuff.
All right. But that's it.
What about you, Ryan?
Oh, what about me? So I've been doing bite-sized stuff recently for the most part, just because I've had a pretty hectic travel couple months. Like I was in Asia for 3 weeks and then was home for like 3 days and then back on the road again. And I'm on the road for a lot of the next couple months as well. I beat let me find who the developer is. Because he does a certain type of game for sure. Have you guys ever played like the Ding Dong XL on like Switch or Steam? They're kind of like it's a very they're very kind of simple, like one button push. It's Atom Vision Studios.
Okay.
So they're like one button push kind of games where you're like in Ding Dong you're sending a ball back and forth and there's things that go through and it gets fast and it's like a high score kind of game.
Okay.
He has a whole series of those. I recently have beaten 2 of those. Bing Bong XL and Pivot XL. They're both like they're good type of games. It's not nearly as involved as something like Blatro is, but it's that kind of game where it's like you don't sit and play 4 hours of this particularly. It's kind of like you do a run or 2 while you're bored or whatever.
Okay.
So I did that. I just beat some solitaire game because I'm addicted to beating solitaire games for whatever reason. Dreamland Solitaire. This one had a story.
There you go.
It didn't really have a story. But the thing I've really been diving into, and I'm pretty sure this was a recommendation from you guys that got me so deep into it, is putting a ton of time into Disney Dreamlight Valley. I have been crushing that. That is my my chill game right now. It's my my podcast game. So I've been I'd say I don't know, I'm probably 40-50 hours in right now. Just I'm trying to 100% everything. trying to do all the side stuff, get everything going. I mean, it's to get the platinum, it's very grindy, so I might as well do the stuff in the game to do it. So I'm really enjoying. We're a Disney family over here. I made the joke earlier, but like we legitimately Wednesday went to Disneyland for my son's birthday, and you know that's what we do. So
yeah, hey,
and it's a game like my son's at the age now where he's starting to pay attention to the TV a little bit.
Okay.
And that's a game that like, okay, I want to play a game while I'm watching him and he'll actually pay attention a little bit, you know. I can't play Doom. I can't play Claire Obscure. And my son, well, I could. I'd be a bad father. But this, you know, he gets excited every time Donald Duck, you know, walks across the screen, you know. So it's kind of fun for that too. He gets pumped and helps me. So you're saying
he's already into Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Weirdly, he already understands the lore. He's already made he's made a 2.5 hour retrospective for YouTube already that he's already handled there.
Didn't much care for the Final Fantasy character aspect of it, but
the
card battler for Game Boy Advance, he's super into it.
Heartbroken that mobile game was canceled.
Yes.
He hasn't recovered yet for this week from the news. He's been just inconsolable. He was so upset he shit himself. Like that's how that's how mad he was. But that's been the main thing. I'm trying to figure out what the next thing I'm going to dive into is. I don't know, man. When the joy of the backlog is having a basically endless library of things to choose from.
It's
the
bad.
Negativity is having that endless library.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It's awful.
I'm trying to pick what to do. So, we'll figure it out. But Disney Dreamlight's been the biggest thing I've done. It's, you know, a game I can play while I'm working. You know, you check in, do a couple tasks, keep working, check in. And I just really enjoy it. It's not, you know, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's not incredibly in depth, or, you know, you're doing the same style of missions all the time for everybody's quest, you know, but it's fun. It's chill. I like making Mickey Mouse happy when I give him an onion. Like life's good.
We can kick over to news. There's been a lot. I made the joke before we started recording, but like, and again, this isn't planned, but like 2 episodes ago, I feel like we were really on Nintendo, was the Switch 2 stuff. Last time we recorded was all about Microsoft raising the prices and everything, and now this time we record, we have a bunch of Sony bullshit. So it's just each one of these companies, man, in the last 6 weeks have done something really dumb.
They keep seeing everybody else fuck up, and they're like, well,
I can do better.
I guess we can do. I guess we can just do whatever we want now, and it doesn't matter
exactly
anymore.
We'll kick off with Sony. We've known for a while this live service push has been a bad idea. I don't think anybody thought it was good, and they really pushed into it because Helldivers was a success.
And
once that hit, they were full steam ahead on these. Obviously, we saw what happened with Concord. Once that failed, then the questions became, well, what about some of these other games? You know, there's Fair Games, which is now in a lot of trouble because the person that was the head of that left. And I should point out, the head of that studio founded that studio.
Yeah, I was to say,
sold it to Sony, and then they got rid of her. So if I was Sony at this point, I would probably come out now and push that game until next year, and then later this year just say it's over. I don't think I would put it out. On the flip side of that, today, and this is probably the hottest and most recent news here, is this whole scandal with Marathon. I don't know if any of you've seen the because it's one of those, it just keeps getting worse as the day went on. Like, first it was just, well, it's one piece of artwork. So what it is at the point that we're recording now, they found, I believe, it's either 4 or 6 pieces of artwork from a specific Instagram artist that they plagiarized and just built the entire art style of this game around. So when I say that, I'm talking the character design, the world design, the level design, like everything in this game is going off of this art. And if you go and look at it, like, it's very clear they took it.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, well, I mean, if that is the case, then are you really going to delay this thing, change the art style completely? No, you're probably going to cancel it. is what I think will happen.
You would think.
That now it is like I have not followed this story close enough.
Okay.
But I know these type of things happen in the past. Is this generally considered that people think that it was lifted, or was it a situation because I've heard in the past that like developers will put placeholder stuff in while they're working on things, and then certain things get forgotten that they were in there, and that's the thing.
The thing that I saw that kind of really, I think, was the final nail was in one of the pieces of artwork. The artist that had done, I can't remember if it was a guy. I don't remember, but
it's a woman.
It's a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
The woman that did the artwork.
Squared is the name on
They
Twitter.
put like a very specific little reference to something in the artwork, like a little design or something that they were able to pull from footage of that game.
It's like a signature thing that she puts in her artwork.
And it's like, it is not possible. Yeah, like it's not possible that they didn't steal that.
It's not like they were like they saw her stuff and they were inspired and they're like, oh, we can kind of recreate this on our own way. No, we're just gonna fucking take it, put it in here. And I get where Ryan's coming from. Like, is this a placeholder? Like using it as an asset? But it made it into all these trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's irrefutable that this is someone else's work, that they all it takes is for them to reach out to this person and be like, hey, we really like your stuff.
This stuff
it fits
dope. Can we have it?
It fits the concept of what we're doing. Can we work out some way where will you let us use it? Can we license it? This person, they even admit they don't make they don't really make money off of this. It's just something they kind of do and work on.
Yeah.
They probably would have been thrilled to have it in the game and put their name in the credit. That might have been enough.
Yeah, that could have been it.
But no, man, they just fucking took it.
And the thing is now, even if they were to do that and do the right thing, it's too late.
It's too late.
It is out there. People
this
are
is
pissed.
Stuff and it's not like this is stuff that popped up on the internet a month ago and they saw it and took it. This stuff's 8 years old.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so they've 2017.
They've been using it for a while.
Yeah. It
and the fact that they came out and didn't admit that they did it, but they're like, we're investigating it. Means
that was what they had to say this morning, because when they got to the fourth piece of artwork that was no, this is stolen, they had to make a comment again. And the other thing I point out when I talk about Sony's push for live service games, these are all paid live service games. These aren't free to play games.
Right.
These are all, you're gonna go spend $40-$50 for this live service game. And that's why at this point, if I were Sony, I'd be pulling the plug on the whole live service thing. Between this, Fair Games, Concord last year, this whole push this generation to shift from single, what they're known for as their studios, and go for a live service, it's failed. It's over.
Yeah.
So
nobody wants it.
Nobody wants.
That's the thing. The live service games that are successful have their audiences that aren't going to play something new. They're not. You're not taking anybody from Fortnite or whatever. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
So you're not going to build. There's no gamers left. And I'm generalizing, but there's no gamers left that want this type of game that don't already have the game that they're deeply into at this point.
And if you go and I would guarantee if you go and ask the average kid that plays Fortnite or whatever the free to play hot game of the week is, the first thing that they're going to be confused about is when you tell them it's a paid live service game and not a free to play game.
No.
So, because that's a lot of that part of the space, they're conditioned to just know it's a free to play game that they can buy skins for. So the whole push it's been bad.
The problem is every so often one of these things hits. And
Helldivers was it.
Helldivers hits. So they're banking on other things hitting because maybe they only need 1 out of every 5 to hit. If they were smart and actually just said fuck it and they put all this stuff into just getting Destiny 3 out the door, Destiny 3 will sell.
Yeah.
It will sell immediately because it's got to take everybody who is currently playing, and it would be enough for someone like me to want to try it again because as we talked about before, at this point Destiny 2 is so far gone. Yeah. I don't think I can get into it again.
No, I'd rather than just make a 3.
Because that game's been out for what, almost a decade, right?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
2017.
It's the 10-year plan was Destiny 1 and 2.
They did it.
They did it. But I would like to play a Destiny game again because they play incredibly well. But I feel like I'm so far behind the existence of Destiny 2 that there's no possible way to crack into it.
And you can't catch up
by
because
the way.
2017.
Yeah.
You can't catch up even if you wanted to because they've probably deleted story stuff that you can't even play if you wanted to.
They've changed all of the systems and everything you owned isn't good, but we had to morph it into something else. And then we took away the currency that you used to upgrade it, but we introduced another premium currency you can buy. But you have to go talk to this other guy who actually doesn't exist anymore because in the story of the last expansion, we killed him off. So we had to replace him with this other. It's like that's how this stuff goes. That's what the problem with live service games are, is like they're free to change the very existence of the game as it goes on.
Yeah.
And just blame it on, well, it's just we're expanding the universe. But if I played it 2 years ago, it's not the same game anymore.
So I sent that to you earlier, but I have the list of 18 live service games.
18
of 18, 3 have released. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 of them that are. We have 2 that are. We have 1 that has a date, which is Marathon. That's September.
I think
Fair Games was pushed to spring next year, and then we have a couple other ones that are to be announced. The rest of them have been canceled. And when I say those, I'm talking about things like The Last of Us Online, whatever the Twisted Metal thing was. Remember, there was going to be a God of War one that got shut down. There was the Ben Studio one that got shut down.
Was there a Horizon one?
So the Horizon MMO is still to be determined.
That's canceled.
I think they're all. The other one I laughed at that says to be determined on here is the Media Molecule live service game.
Canceled.
That's been canceled.
That company doesn't exist.
There was a Spider-Man one.
Canceled.
I
remember
games,
that one. That one. There was footage of that one.
The Great Web.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Making video games is, I'm sure, way more difficult than my tiny, unqualified brain could possibly ever wrap around. But there are just some nobody wants a God of War. No. Like nobody they want the big single play. Like there's certain franchises that clearly that's what people want from that. That's it. They want that next big epic story. Nobody wants to dick around with this other stuff where you become your own god. Like nobody cares.
I don't want to be my own Kratos. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is like I think in some of those universes it fits, and some it doesn't. Like God of War, it does not fit at all. Last of Us, I feel like it could have fit because the one thing we always talked about Last of Us, I think you and I even discussed this long before this, and even before 2 came out. The thing about Last of Us that's intriguing is there are thousands of other stories you could tell in this universe.
In that universe, yeah.
Exactly.
And maybe they cross paths with Ellie for like a minute or like a segment in the game. But it's
an Easter egg type of thing.
Yeah, they're so determined. They're so determined to tell the story, this story of these 2 games, which is fine. But the universe exists, and there's so much other stuff they can do with it that I feel like a multiplayer thing could have worked. Obviously, what they were making was a dumpster fire. If the Destiny guys have to tell you it's bad, then it's probably bad.
Probably pretty bad, yeah.
So, but at Horizon, maybe that works. But half the reason that Horizon is fun is because you play as Aloy. And the whole thing is it's her story, and she's the only one capable of doing the stuff in this universe. And it's spelled out amongst all of the other NPCs who can't do a fucking thing.
Well, an example I'd give, too, of like where you can get away from that, even though it's not a multiplayer game per se, but like look at Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 1 and 2 specifically are great games because you play as a character and you care about the story. Watch Dogs Legion, you just play as whoever, and it just I did not click for me because there is a story, but like I don't really connect with it because I'm playing as random dude on the street.
It got boring. It really got boring at a certain point. Yeah. So this whole life, like the marathon, go back to the marathon thing, like that game's gonna come out. They basically admitted that, I love how in their admission that they did steal this art is that they blame, that person doesn't work here anymore. Of course they don't. Of course, right? Because you're not going to say that it's someone who's currently on staff. Oh, no, John, he doesn't work here anymore.
It was the one rogue employee.
Yeah, who thought, what if I steal this art and upload it and somehow no one else notices that I did this? and see if we can get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's someone did it, they got busted, and now they're going to fix it. They'll probably just end up licensing it from this person.
That's my guess is what they'll do.
It's the easiest solution for everyone involved.
It is.
Is it just license the artwork and move on? But does that mean Marathon's going to hit? No. I doubt it.
I don't see it. Like, I can see it maybe having a little more of an impact than, say, Concord, just because it has the Bungie name behind it. But
sure.
Even from what I saw of people that played the alpha test or whatever the test they just had, like, there was no fanfare around that game at all.
No.
Nobody was talking positively about it. It just was, it's whatever.
That's exactly what happened with Concord.
Mm-hmm.
Every beta testing was, the game plays fine.
Yeah.
That was it. And we always talked about it. It's like the Concord had the problem of it had to go against Marvel Rivals. It didn't matter how good of a game Marvel Rivals was, because it had Marvel in the title.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, it's just a better version of Overwatch by all accounts. But, even that game, the support is almost like dying off because from the studio, because we were moving on.
Mm-hmm. The whole live service thing, like, I just wish they'd get rid of they just exit that and go back. But, like, even I think I mentioned I said something to you about it earlier today, but, like, the whole generation for PlayStation, like, for me, it's just been a wash first party. Because even if you look at the stuff that's come out, like the sequels that we've had, they've been good, but they haven't been as good as what's been previously put out. Like, even Spider-Man. Spider-Man was good. I enjoyed it. Wasn't as good as the first Spider-Man game. I'd say the same about Horizon and God of War. And, like, looking at Ghosts of Yotei, like, I like Ghosts of Tsushima a lot. I don't know how much I care about this new Ghost game, like, at all. Like, and it seems like we've seen very little footage of it, but it comes out in October.
Well, and the other strange thing too is, so we made a Spider-Man sequel pretty quick. God of War, Horizon, all stuff, but like
made those really fast.
But Resistance is dead. Killzone is dead. Like, all of these old franchises, SOCOM. Where's SOCOM? Can you imagine if they made a SOCOM now?
Why is that not one of the quote unquote live service?
SOCOM could easily be a live service game.
It could easily do. I don't think it would do as well as Helldivers did, but I think it could be a success.
The nostalgia factor alone.
Yes.
Because SOCOM, I don't know if people remember, like, because I was working at
the early PS2 days.
SOCOM was a huge franchise.
Yeah.
And up until 4, when the PSN outage murdered it, because no one could play it for a month and a half.
Yeah.
But SOCOM was huge.
Yes,
it was the first game on PS2 to come with a headset in the box, because they knew you were going to need it.
Yeah.
But, like, can you imagine if they were like, new SOCOM game, it's live service, but it's $40, and I think you could get away with that. Fuck, even Killzone could be a live service game at that point. If you're not going to use it for what it's meant to be, you have all of these IPs that are just dead.
Yeah. Like, somebody mentioned the other day, Warhawk.
Warhawk was a huge one on PS3.
Was another one, yeah. Whereas, like, they haven't done anything with that in a long time. So
yeah, do you guys think that, like, Sony is fucking up because they're fucking up, or is this kind of like WWE post WCW before AEW, where they're like, we're so big that it doesn't matter. Like,
yes.
Like, what are you gonna do? Buy an 100%. Xbox? What are you gonna,
I would argue that's the problem.
I think it's I think now it's even that they're more checked out because their biggest competition has turned into their biggest publisher. So they have no.
Their biggest competition
Nintendo's
just
not really
loaded a shotgun and put it in their mouth.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, the thing is like, it's because it's following the pattern of the PS2 was number one by far. And, the Xbox was brand new. The GameCube was such a radically different thing from the Nintendo from before. So PS2 just had nowhere to go but up. But then they took all of that goodwill and made a $600 Blu-ray player with it for the next console. And they made it a year late. So then, but they thought we can do no wrong. People will buy it because they bought the PS2. And people didn't buy PS3s for a very long time.
At least the first 2-ish years. Yeah,
longer than that, man. It was so long before.
Yeah, I remember looking for. I think their sales were very backloaded in their generation.
Yes,
for sure.
It probably took almost, I would say, 4 to 5 years before the PS3.
It would be around like you started getting the bigger games like a Heavy Rain or an Uncharted 2. And those kind of like bigger
Microsoft had just built such a huge lead because they came out early. The console was very good. They had an established online system that, yes, you had to pay for it, but it worked.
And a ton of bangers right off the bat, too.
Yeah, tons of stuff out of the gate that just was worth playing. In like Oblivion, like they had huge
you had Oblivion,
stuff on
you had Dead Rising, you had
Gears
1.
Was it BioShock that originally was?
BioShock was 2007.
So like, and Mass Effect I think was originally
Mass Effect was fall 2007.
Right. That's the thing is they had
exclusive.
all of these things were banger exclusive out of the gate, and like it just took so long for places to catch up. But then they learned their lesson again and realized with PS4 we have to change this shit. And hey, it worked again because Microsoft again shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Microsoft gave them a huge assist.
Yeah, Microsoft was like, "Why don't you just take over for now?"
But then they had the marketing with Xbox because remember what's his name came out with it tattooed on his arm.
Yeah, Peter Moore.
That was a huge thing.
Huge.
I think that's the only one that had the marketing with a different platform.
Yeah, because remember it took forever.
Was very much PlayStation.
It took forever for three and everything to even show up on Xbox.
Yeah, and they did that trilogy.
It took years. I remember because we used to get questions at Game Crazy all the time. Do you think Grand Theft Auto will ever end up on Xbox? And I would always tell people like, yeah, probably, but it's going to be at a point where you don't really even want it anymore.
Where you're done playing it.
Yeah, you've moved on. So, and then that's exactly what happened. And so, so Sony now they're riding the PS4 success. They're riding the PS5 success because it really was the best option of the two. And Microsoft did nothing to change it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say like Sony is doing everything right. It's just Microsoft's doing nothing.
Like I said, they're now their biggest publisher. So like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And
if Microsoft, and the thing is Microsoft seems to be okay with that.
They don't care.
Yeah, and I don't blame Microsoft at this point.
No,
you know, I don't think that this was their plan.
No,
but I think it's actually a good pivot. Them raising the prices and of all that's a different conversation. That I don't want to get mad about again right now. But I don't think the plan was to become a third party publisher or whatever. But like I get it.
But I
totally understand.
I think it's smart. Saw it. Yeah,
yeah,
I think they saw it when the Activision thing finally cleared. And they realized, well, we're still gonna put all this stuff on PlayStation because we'd be fools not to. And then, you know, what if we slowly drip out this other stuff, and then you see every month they're top of the pre-order charts for everything. Even Sea of Thieves was top of the fucking pre-order charts, and that game is like 6 years old.
Yeah. What is it like? They're top like 3 or 4 best-selling PlayStation games of like the last year.
Forza, Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's nuts. So, like,
Gears will do it. I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but
is that on the store yet or no?
I don't think so.
I
it would probably be one of the first
by the end
things
of the year. That's going to be a
But yeah, it's just Microsoft, man. I think the first time when they were giving up was the everything's an Xbox campaign.
Yeah,
it was really trying to be like, you don't have to buy an Xbox to play our games. You can buy anything you want. And
you get a sweet page that says it was announced.
Yeah,
you can't reserve it yet.
Yeah, and just to hammer home how you don't need to buy an Xbox, we're gonna raise the price. just so you know for fact you don't.
We don't want to make any more of these, so we're just gonna sell what we have left.
Our factory's tired.
Yeah.
Hey, I own 2 of them, so now they're worth more.
That's a good investment.
My buddy has that Xbox One sealed. I said, now you can't ever open it. Now it's worth $2,000.
Yeah, I think it's worth a lot of money. Yeah, my I regretted it for a while buying the S as well. Not a bad idea. Now to have it, I guess. Like that they're
at this point, if that thing can just play the Game Pass stuff easily, you're fine.
I will say my thought: if PlayStation really wants to kind of get things going again, where I mean, and they're not struggling by any means, but kind of get that like excitement going. let's put a DVD player in the PlayStation 6. I think that's
Ooh.
that's gonna bump those sales for sure.
PS6 backwards compatibility, but only with PS1 games.
Yeah,
only
with
It's
that.
got a CD player in there.
Nice.
There you go.
My God.
In continuing with Sony, I put it in really quick that they're talking about doing some sort of major update with that PSSR stuff with the PS5 Pro, which like my response to that is just simply cool. Please make my lackluster system better. Like that thing still, I have not played something where I'm like, man, this really justifies this.
Man,
thing.
it's gonna be crazy when that thing's $1,000 in a couple months.
It's gonna be crazy,
Because
right?
you saw what they said, right?
They're thinking about
they're
it.
examining it.
They're examining it, yeah.
Which means they're going to.
Because
Oh,
Microsoft
totally.
did it, they can't.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo came out and said the same kind of thing, basically.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if they used the word examining it, but
Yeah, I don't think
market-
this is in the news anywhere. But
Yeah.
did Ryan? Maybe you did. But did either of you read the IGN interview with Doug Bowser at the Nintendo San
Skimmed
Francisco
it.
store opening? What a pile of PR bullshit! Like, it was terrible. Every time he'd ask him, like, what about the pricing, and like when everybody in the chats were saying like the games are too high. Well, really, what we're talking about today is the San Francisco Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck off, then, dude. Like,
He's not going to talk about
he's not gonna
that.
he's not gonna answer those questions. At all.
No, I don't know why they would keep trying.
Yeah, I get why he wouldn't answer those.
I do too.
But don't do the interview then, because you know
Right.
you're going to get asked the stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
He'd be an idiot if he's like, well, the price is like
Yeah.
he'd be dumb. But don't put yourself in a position
or
where
before
people
that.
are going to be like,
or
what the hell?
before the interview starts, you tell them, yes, I'm happy to do an interview about the store that we're opening right now. Any other questions? I'm just gonna just tell them ahead of time. Any other questions? I'm really not here to talk about today.
Yeah.
Today I'm here to talk about the store. But instead, he does the interview, lets them ask these questions, gives a PR answer, and then lets him ask the question again.
Yeah.
Like,
Follow-up question.
Yeah, follow-up question.
Same
The exact same question. Thoughts? And he's like, well, again, it's like, then don't do this. And then IGN tries to spin it as, it was a great interview. No, it wasn't. It was a piece of
No,
shit.
it wasn't.
It's just a PR. It's like, if you're going to do this, just get a PR release and post it on your website and move on.
Thank God I got my pre-order in now.
There you go.
That's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
We're talking about a console generation, and then the one coming next, where systems have never gone down in price and only gone up, and it's going to happen again.
It is
Yeah.
crazy.
Again.
It is crazy to me.
When does it hit the point where because eventually there'll be a breaking point? I don't think it's there yet. I mean, obviously the pre-orders for Switch 2 were crazy. But at a certain point, there is a dollar amount that is too much.
I think if
Where
they
is
hit a dollar amount whenever let's say the next PlayStation, the next Xbox get announced, if they're too high, you're gonna see a point where people just do not pre-order it. And they go, "This is too much." You'll still have people that.
Well, here's the thing about the Switch 2. Obviously, pre-orders were going to sell out. There's never a question. There's enough people interested to buy the system immediately.
Mm-hmm.
However, there were also a lot of people who decided, like me, that $500 is not worth what I'm going to get out of the system, so I'm not going to buy it. That's not going to change. So going forward, where are the sales? What you're going to have to release in games that I can't live without for me to justify paying $500 for a Nintendo system.
Yeah,
it's
got to be a new Zelda or a new 3D Mario would be the only thing.
Those are the only two big drivers of things.
Because they're going to have some other bangers, like Metroid Prime 4. I'm sure is going to be great, but Metroid Primes don't move console.
It's also on Switch.
It's also on Switch 1.
Yeah. So you can't tell me that is a game that they expect to move someone who isn't willing to buy one now in a year.
And see, here's another question. Let's say, and obviously this hasn't been announced yet, but let's say the next big thing, and it could even be for this fall because we don't even know what the fall layout is other than Metroid. Let's say they announce Odyssey 2, but it also is on Switch 1.
They'd be fools to do that.
You think they'd be foolish?
Well, here's the thing.
There are a lot of Switch 1s out there, though.
They would and they wouldn't, because yes, it would immediately sell. Mm-hmm. You would have an install base of 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
But that I don't have to buy Switch 2.
But that brings up the point: is like, do they
my
actually care
8-year-old
about getting
console
people
still
to move
plays
forward? Or
I do. I mean, it's the Wild West now, so who knows what change? But I do feel if there's one company that will say "fuck it" to the last, like Nintendo would do that. They would do that weird thing and be like, "No, you have to buy this thing." Sorry, 150 million people. You have to buy this thing. Like Nintendo's the one company I think that would. There
weren't many Wii and Wii U games. No, it was. We made this for Wii U. You got to buy the Wii U, and there weren't many Switch and Wii U games. That's for a different reason because it wouldn't play in there. But they're not going to care about selling regular Switches anymore because people who don't know what they're doing are going to buy those.
Yeah.
But they want you to buy the new one, especially if they are continuing to supposedly make them as fast as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Then they want you to move on. They want $500. They want you installed on the new thing. They want you to pay $80 for Odyssey 2. Can they get $80 out of regular Switch people? Maybe not.
No. I don't know. They got 70 out of regular Switch people for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, but that was the first example of Nintendo is now pricing based off of what they appear to be quality, as opposed to a standardized pricing for first party games.
Yeah,
we are firmly in the era of Nintendo is going to tell you what the game is worth, and that's what it's worth. And you can go fuck yourself if you don't want it.
Exactly.
But they proved it with Switch because at most games go down $20 at most, and it's for a week, and then it goes back up. I can't buy the first copy of Hyrule Warriors for less than $60 in 2025. I don't
think it showed up on Woot when we've been looking. So
no, I think when I finally bought mine, and this was a couple years ago, I think I got excited because it was like 53.
Yeah,
there you go.
I've been looking everywhere.
I was pumped that I found
I'm begging for that game to be less than $60.
Those are two that I still need. Yeah, it's just.
I told Kyle, it's I really want to play Hyrule Warriors for some stupid reason.
No, I'm there with you.
But I cannot buy it many years after.
Yeah.
And Nintendo just says Nintendo does this thing, especially about older generation stuff, where they I don't know if they necessarily forget about it, but they like to pretend it doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to find a copy of a first party game that we made 6 years ago, you can go suck it from the back, buddy. We don't care.
They don't care.
They just don't. And they don't even put these things on sale on a digital storefront where it costs no money to produce.
Yeah,
that is one of my favorite quotes from the Iwata book, by the way.
Suck it from the back.
Suck it from the back.
That was the foreword, I think. But yeah, I think if you type that in ASCII, it unlocks golf on the Switch or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where
they don't.
In the past they used to. In the GameCube era, you had Player's Choice. Remember Platinum Hits?
Did they even do that on the Switch?
No.
Okay.
And the Player's Choice was always really kind of fucked because the Platinum Hits on Xbox and Greatest Hits on PS2 were always 20. Player's Choice on Nintendo were 30. You're going to pay a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then if it was Smash Brothers, I'm pretty sure that was 40 too. Because again, fuck you, we don't care. But yeah, it just. We got off topic because of the fucking Nintendo thing, but
no, that's exactly the state of the whole thing. It does because the whole industry
where
is
we're
fucked.
going. They're telling you need to pay $10 for a tech demo because people worked on it.
I mean, speaking of the world being upside down, Gears of War is coming to PS5 August 26th. And I should point out, I didn't put it in the article. I don't think it's in the article, but this is the other thing that has the Xbox fan base upset. Only physical copy for PS5. There will not be a physical copy of this for the Xbox.
That's wild. I think not only is that wild, the other thing that's wild to me about that whole thing is we alluded to it earlier. Makes total sense that Microsoft at this point. You're not going to win, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Put your games on PlayStation. That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that I'm pretty sure this was announced by PlayStation that this game even existed.
I
don't think it was an Xbox announcement. And then by the way, also on PlayStation, I think it popped up on the PlayStation news store, the store news page or whatever. A press release was on there. So like that's the even crazier part, that like Sony got to drop the news that
Well,
this thing existed.
So we have an email about it, and we'll read the email later. But did you see they put out a banner thing for their showcase in June, for the Xbox showcase, like whatever, June 8th, whatever it is, and it has logos underneath for all of the platforms, and Xbox is the last fucking platform on it. Like, they're leading with PlayStation, and then Switch 2, and then Steam, and then
That's
Xbox. Like, that if that doesn't tell you where their head's at, then I don't know how you would not, like, it's insane. So
it's like I've told you multiple times.
It's crazy.
Ryan, this is my hot take, Ryan. I don't know if you've heard me say this, but like, by doing this, by publishing the old games on other consoles, Microsoft is winning the console wars now. They don't have to sell you a console to make money anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have to do the heavy lifting.
They're probably actually going to save money.
Yes.
Because making the consoles is notoriously expensive.
Has never made money for anyone.
I think Nintendo is the only one that kind of tries to squeak a dollar out of it, kind of thing.
But they're releasing Gears of War on PlayStation, a remaster of a game from nearly 20 years ago.
That's what, 2006? 2007?
7, I think, right, Kyle? Yeah. The first Gears?
First Gears 2006.
Yeah, okay. So
was
we're releasing
2008.
a 20-year-old game on our competitor's console. It will be one of the top-selling games on that console for the foreseeable future. I'm fucking buying it again. Like, there's like,
it's a remaster of a remaster too. I don't know. You should point that out.
Yeah, it is.
Is this the remaster of the Ultimate Edition?
It is remaster of the Ultimate. If you own the Ultimate Edition on Xbox, you'll just get a free upgrade for it.
But only digitally, because fuck those physical people.
Of course.
I have the physical version. Means nothing.
You have the physical version of Avowed? Just kidding. It's an empty case.
It's empty case.
I know, but I'm an empty vessel, so I'm very much like Avowed. I'm a husk.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat where it's like, I'll have that, free digital copy, but I will totally buy it on the PlayStation because I want to unlock trophies in a Gears game.
And you want to know the craziest part? They could have easily done a collection of 1, 2, and 3 and just sold you that
for $70.
For $70. Nah, man, we're gonna break them apart. And we're going to sell that scheme to you
all for
3
40
times, all for 40, and you're going to buy all 3 because you want Horde Mode too.
Well, and here's the best part: you still got 4 and 5 to do, and then we'll have that
Judgment
game.
Yeah,
Judgment. If they really want to get wacky, Judgment,
Judgment, they should just probably be like, this one's 3 in Judgment. Like, you can just have it. Like,
you can just have it.
Nobody fucking cares.
It's what a crazy time. Like,
wow.
I love it. I'm all for it. And this just proves, like we've talked about forever, Master Chief Collection is coming.
See, so here's my new dark theory on Halo.
Put it on Switch too.
I will. No, well,
Ooh,
I don't think because of Gears and how Gears is being handled, I don't think you're gonna get.
I know. Don't
Halo collection.
No.
Here's my.
Can't break that apart.
I am saving most of my predictions for like showcase stuff for next episode, but I'll share this one early. My prediction: the first Halo game that's coming to PlayStation, and it'll be later this year, is going to be Infinite. And at the showcase, after that's announced, with the PlayStation logo, mind you, they're going to say, "And let's look at the future of Halo," and you're going to see this rumored remake, and that's going to be what comes to PlayStation for $70.
That's fun.
Or 80. I agree with you, but looking at the trajectory of what's been going on, as much as I'm like, I would love to see Master Chief Collection. That's the dream for them to drop it. Sell it to me for $70. I'm an idiot. I'll buy it again, and I'll play all of those games again with you.
Yes.
So
who's also an idiot.
Yeah, I'm also an idiot. Well-known idiot.
And even if I can just link my account over, I don't care. I'll just do it again. But no, we'd rather put these out piecemeal, and it's probably going to be this quote unquote remake, and I don't know what that's going to be. So is it a ground up thing, or is it just, hey, we threw it in Unreal 5, like Oblivion? I don't know.
Turns out it's just the Oblivion remake again.
There you go. Oops. So we'll see. That is my new dark theory about Halo, is I think it's going to be infinite, which again, infinite's not a bad game. And the other reason why I think it's infinite is they have been, in the last couple months, they've been really patching and throwing a lot more stuff in that game, like maps and modes and stuff.
Up the player count.
Seems like they're getting ready to do something. So, which whatever, I'll play infinite on my PlayStation. It's not the Halo I want over there, but I'll do it.
Real quick before we move on,
yeah,
I just wanted to let y'all know that Concord is on eBay, and one of the cheapest copies sold was at $8.49.
Hell,
wait a minute!
yes.
I thought it was supposed to be $1 million because there weren't supposed to be any copies of it.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I think one of the times I was on this show, I was mad because there was a small window where those physical copies were selling for about
should we go buy one?
$80 or $90.
Yeah,
and I saw one on a Walmart shelf, and then the system had already taken it out, so it wouldn't let me actually buy it.
The biggest copy right now that sold was 300. However, that came with the limited edition controller that was sealed.
The controller will always have value because it's if you want a controller collection, you need it, and you can use it. Yeah, and it was available. Even though the game is gone.
The game has no value.
But the game, it means nothing to anyone. I guess does it count as a full PS5 collection if it's not
I look
even
at it
a
as
game?
like, okay, wow, I own this physical copy of Mag for PS3. What's that going to do for me? It's the same thing, though.
We'll get it graded.
Absolutely
get
nothing.
The Mag controller.
Just saying.
God, that's another franchise. Bring back Mag, live service game.
Bring back Mag, there you go.
Get rid of Destiny. It's all Mag now.
Apparently, there is some internal talk to put paywalls into certain game modes in Call of Duty. Could they do
stupid.
that? Sure. It's incredibly stupid, but then
that's
also a future.
Then that game just becomes a live service game.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it kind of that though right now? Because most people play that Warzone mode, and they keep updating that with every Call of Duty release.
Yeah.
So
I think that's meant to exist outside of.
Yeah, I was gonna say because when you download, you don't have to download everything else. You can literally just download Warzone, and it's its whole separate entity.
I mean, you can download everything, but you're not gonna have any room for anything else on your system then. So
it takes you 15 minutes to play through the campaign mode of Call of Duty, so it's really not worth it.
No. Control 2 is not going to have as big of a budget as Alan Wake 2, which is not surprising because Alan Wake 2 did not sell as well as I wish it probably would have. But I'm still not worried about it affecting the quality of that game.
No, I don't think so.
And we got that Firebreak game we'll try over the summer when that launches because
I'm excited.
That looks awesome.
The only thing I'm upset about that game is it's 5 jobs, so that's going to get pretty repetitive.
It'll get repetitive, but I like the concept of it, and hopefully they add more to it as it goes on if it's successful.
Or it gets Texas Chainsaw Massacre and shut off in a year.
Did I put that in the? I don't think I did.
But
don't you talk.
That was just another that was the reminder of we need to get to Killer Clowns fast.
I just laughed. That was the free PlayStation game last month. Oh, by the way, we're done.
We're done.
You can still play it for now, we guess, and then it's just going to get shut off at some point.
I think last time we recorded, we talked about the Chrono Trigger thing, and now it's been set afire again because the Dragon Quest creator wants to do it. So
maybe he should make Dragon Quest first.
Hey, man.
Well, apparently there's news that Dragon Quest 12 is still alive and
kicking.
Well. I did see that.
They showed the logo again.
Talk about a real underground. They went so far underground. We've seen nothing. Nothing has ever leaked anything.
Only that logo.
I feel for Dragon Quest though, it's going to be one of those series that it doesn't matter. It could just be oh, by the way, it's done, and Japan will buy 3 million, and it'll sell. Dragon Quest 11 I think did really well in the States.
Incredible.
It did very well over here.
So it's one of those things. I think it'll be fine. I think it's just one of those series it's built in for what it is. They're not going to do anything vastly different like a Final Fantasy will, where they change the combat or change whatever.
It'll come
so
out
drastically. It'll come
out. They'll show a trailer at some point and be hey, it comes out in 2 months, because that's kind of what they're doing with they did with the 3 remaster and the 1 and 2. They kind of hey, this exists, and then a couple months before it came out, it's hey, check, you can actually see what it looks like now, And by the way, it comes out pretty soon.
Yeah. 1 and 2 will probably be end of this year.
Yeah,
I'm imagining
it's gonna hit
holiday,
this year
and it'll
for
just
sure.
be it'll get announced in August and be ready for November. And and I'll buy it and play Dragon Quest 1 in a different version again for like the 80th time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's Dragon Quest. I don't think is a series I'm ever like worried about because I just it's going to be good.
It's going to be
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Chrono Trigger thing, I would love for it, but like I feel like we're just in a loop where like every so often somebody's like, I think we're going to remake Chrono Trigger. It's like, we're not.
We're not.
Here's the problem, like whether it's been fans or them on their side or a combination of the two, what's going to happen with this is like if it ever finally does happen, and I do think inevitably eventually it'll get done, there's going to be so much built-in hype that there's nothing that they can do that will not piss people off.
Well, we talked about
some aspect of it.
Yeah. We talked about it last time. It's like the only version of a remake I even want is something that's like the Dragon Quest 3 remake. That's the level I want it to be.
To go the Final Fantasy VII remake level,
please don't do that.
Too far.
Please don't do that.
I don't want that.
That works for that game specifically. It will not work for Chrono Trigger.
No, not at all.
Hyper-realistic frog. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
that's real fucking gross the whole time.
One of the big, and I love Chrono Trigger too. Like I'm not special in that regard, but one of the things that I think people really love about Chrono Trigger, other than just the it's that you can just beat it in 12 hours. Like I think that's like part of its like allure. Yeah. It's like it's this amazing game with these great characters and a great story. Oh, and you don't have to invest the next 6 months of your life to beat it.
That game is what you want it to be. So it can't be a short, pretty straightforward thing. It can be a lot longer because there's a lot of other things you can do. I think we maybe mentioned it last time. It's like somehow find a way to remake the DS version of it.
Yeah.
Just make that the definitive edition and move on.
How many endings does the game have? Like 10?
More than 14?
Yeah.
14, 15?
There's a lot. There's one that you can do immediately. There's one that requires you to play through the game multiple times. There's a lot.
It's cool as hell.
Such a good game.
13 possible.
Yeah, okay.
13.
We talked. We alluded to it earlier. Obviously, games that ship with nothing on the disc. Doom: The Dark Ages is the latest. It has simply just 85 megabytes on the disc.
That's a token.
It's a token.
That is more insulting than it literally just being a blank disc that they put a sticker on.
That's a game key disc.
That's exactly what it is. It's a bummer. Like, as someone, the funny thing is, I don't own a physical copy of Doom Eternal because that was like right at the very height of the beginning of COVID. So that was when I there were a couple of releases. I think Animal Crossing and some other ones where I did digital because of COVID and I didn't want to deal with anything. At that very little bit, but so I don't have a copy of that one. I have that digital, and this one, obviously it's on Game Pass, but like I probably will end up getting it on Steam at some point to have it. But it's still just a bummer of like, even if I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to have that on my shelf. You're always going to know that in the back of your mind. Yeah, it's on my shelf, but it's an 85 megabyte game key disc. So they keep doing this. I don't understand why.
Just means if you delete it one day in 10 years in the future, you delete it, you might not be able to re-download it.
True. Yep. Borderlands 4. And we'll get to some Borderlands stuff later, but Borderlands 4
easy
supposedly may be an $80 game. And a recent, what was it? I think it was PAX. Randy Pitchford just kind of talked about the reason for that being they had like double the development time. Or double the development time and double the development team. So they're considering it being an $80 game. Is it going to happen? I don't know. That's more or less up to Take-Two. So, and Take-Two
is the people that are going to charge you $100 for Grand Theft Auto.
Exactly. So they're probably like, yeah, we could probably do 80 on that Borderlands.
Well, if we do, because if nowadays is like, all right,
what if we do 90?
If we do 80 for Borderlands, then we can definitely do 90 for Grand Theft Auto. Mm-hmm. Maybe 100.
Exactly.
So we're hitting the point where like if consoles are going up $150, games are going to go up 10. Accessories went up.
Again, the thing that kills me is we go back to Microsoft. I know we talked about last week, but it's like the physical stuff. It sucks. I'm not a fan of it, but whatever. It's when it's the digital. Like there is no reason at all for these digital games to go up in price.
Well, then it becomes a Nintendo argument of this is how much work we put into it. This is what we value.
It's a quality thing. Yeah.
But if that's how it's going to be, then do the Nintendo tax thing where, like, you want a physical copy? Fine, it's $10 more. If you don't, it's digital. But all this means for me is, like, outside of us, if 80 is going to be the new norm, it seems like we're getting to a weird point where 80 and 50 are becoming the new norms, and there's not going to be a number in between. It's
very weird that that's the new norm, but yeah.
So. Because Mafia, I don't know if you put this in here, but Mafia is only $50.
Mafia is only $50, and I'm really excited about that because that was like, I don't know if that's going to be a day one game for me. And then when they said 50, I was like, you know what?
The downside to that is by all accounts, that game's like 12 to 15 hours long, and that's.
But so were the other ones.
But yeah, like, and that's why $50 seems fine.
100% fair.
If we're riding this line where it's like things are going to be 50 or 80, I'm not buying a ton of games at $80. Digital stuff goes on sale constantly,
super fast.
PlayStation.
And if it's like Ubisoft or EA, you can wait 2 weeks to get it for the price you really want to pay day one.
I saw College Football 25 online today for $5.
Well, they just announced 26 today.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
I got that physically from Best Buy for $5 not that long ago.
It's because those games sell up front, and by the time it's over, they're done.
They're done.
They hadn't even announced. Like I said, they just announced 26 like today. I was almost thinking they weren't going to do it because
it seems really late, right?
I don't. Well, the thing
would it be on
is,
July?
It comes out July 10th, I think. But as someone who bought 25 the day of and played the hell out of it because I love college football and it had been 11 years, I don't really need 26. Like I could just play 25 again. I guess
it doesn't matter. It's
the argument is like rosters because we actually have rosters in college football now. But what else is different? They didn't even make a big deal about it.
I mean, I think it's going to be the Madden thing. I think think you're a little bit more of an outlier for someone who plays that game because you're also just a gamer who plays a billion other things.
Right.
So you're kind of more. Some people, that's their that's going to be the only thing they play. They're going to buy that Call of Duty.
Madden, for sure.
And so they want the new thing every year. It's one of the 3 games they're going to buy. So give me the new game.
College football was one of the best-selling games of last year because it had just come back. But I'm of the mind where I don't need that game every year. Like, there's no possible way that game. Like, it's not going to be different. Like at all. There's no way. But when it's, $10 at some point, absolutely. I'm in for $10.
Well, at this point, I'm going to wait till next May to buy it because it's going to be $5. So I just...
You could. And that's the thing is, like, if you're not a big college football person, but you just want to play the game, just be a year behind. It's not going to affect you at all.
No, not at all.
Start playing now. Start playing 25 now. And by the time you're done with it, 26 is $5.
There you
go. Tony Hawk, holy deity that he is to me, is willing to fight for a Thug remake, which I think is fantastic.
That's what we talked about.
I think we talked about last week that he fought to get Bam back in the game. Bam has officially been announced, which is awesome. But that's really what I want at this point. Now I want a Thug 1 remake. I don't think you go farther than that. Because Thug 2, I like it. That's more of a Jackass game.
It's like what we talked about where I think you do the Thug. So as long as 3 and 4 sells well, which it will.
It will.
It proves that he has a lot of power because he basically got 3 and 4 made.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because 3 and 4 was canceled allegedly, right? Like they kind of
there was a time where they were like, we were gonna do it as DLC for the first thing, and then we decided not to, and then it was gonna be a game, and then it wasn't, and then basically he told them like, no, you can make it. They're like, oh, okay.
I don't know if you know this. I'm a human bird.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make this happen.
But I think a Thug 1 remake is good. But then I think we talked about it the other time too, where it's like, then just make a new Thug. Like you don't have to remake 2. You can make
just a new Tony Hawk
remix or something like. Because remember they did that for 2 for like PSP. Like make a new Thug game in the style of those, but you can skip over 2.
Yeah. I don't think it would upset people.
No.
At that point.
No.
So
Or from that point, once you're done with Thug, you can really do anything you want in the Tony Hawk verse as long as it's not Pro Skater 5. You can really do whatever you want.
I mean, you could just make a new Tony Hawk game and just call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but and I think people would be fine with that. So I would my thing is I obviously I love those games, but if you were to make a new one now, I would want to get away from it always having to be the timer.
It needs to be more like 4
an open
was.
Thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would like it to be.
It needs to be more like that. Not 5, which was a dumpster.
Like I get it for the fact of these remakes. And obviously I understand why they're doing what they're doing with the 3 and 4 remake. It makes sense, but if you were to make a new one today, that's what I would want it to be.
Get off the board. I can walk around, find stuff to do.
High five, bam. You know what I want to do in the game. So, looks like there might be a remaster port of Grand Theft Auto 4 for current gen systems. It wouldn't be surprising. It would sell. Even though I would argue that's probably my least favorite Grand Theft Auto, I would probably still check it out.
It'll be released. It'll sell.
It'll sell. I'll buy it.
It'll need crazy patches like the definitive edition of the trilogy did.
So in 2 years from now, it'll be playable and good.
But people don't care.
The thing is if you're gonna do that, it has to happen now. Because
you can't do it after.
You cannot do it anywhere close to 6 because
no.
Like what's the latest you could do it is what, probably holiday?
Yeah, I would say you want it by the end of this year just to build the hype for 6.
Yeah.
Because the thing about 4, like we've all played 4. That game doesn't, I don't know. By the time that game's over, you just want it to be over.
Yeah.
It's just Nico's a good character for a while.
I would be interested in revisiting that story again now because I remember nothing about it. My memory of that game is the car, like driving, felt like you were on an ice rink and your buddy calling you to go bowling all the time.
Everything that game is pretty like gray and brown and black.
And I get it; it's Liberty City,
right? But that's why I think 6 looks a lot more exciting to me because it's
whereas
bright,
like 5's story is a
fun.
lot more memorable to me.
Sure.
And
5 took everything they had done before and blew it up.
I kind of want to replay it before 6 comes out. So.
Yeah.
I put it in here. Go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing I don't know if you guys talked about because I think I heard this last week, so you might have already announced that. I think I heard that there's rumors that GTA 6 is going to have GTA 1 and 2 in it, like playable.
That would be interesting. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Those games are not the greatest games to play now.
No.
But man, I hope that happens. Put GTA 4 in GTA 6. Like, just go ahead and have that.
All right, but when you're in GTA 4, you can put GTA 1 in GTA 4.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want. I want this to be a fucking Russian nesting doll of GTA.
And then you play the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah, I always love stuff like that. Like even if it's not a big deal, like Animal Crossing for GameCube, where you could play like all the old NES games. It's not even remotely close to the best way to play any of those.
Yeah.
Oh no,
no. I think the first game I remember having that might have been like Super Pitfall for Super Nintendo. Had like you could play the original Atari Pitfall in it if you go to certain places. Like that that blew my mind.
That would be fun if in 6, like if you had your crib or whatever, and you could sit down and he had a PS1 or a facsimile of it, and he had GTA for that, and you could play it. That'd be pretty fun. Because those games are fun to mess around with. Like they're not really like complete games if you play them these days, but it's more like you play through levels and it's about like doing things. But yeah, that would be a fun thing to do. Yakuza does that kind of stuff where they've got like all of the like Master System games and shit. Like that's really fun.
Not a game, but a game adjacent. Fallout. The TV show season 2 is out in December, which that actually really surprised me. I thought it would be next
sooner
spring.
Than I thought. Yeah,
they're pushing that up pretty fast. They announced they finished filming it. It'll be ready for December, and they announced season 3 already.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we'll get 3 seasons of it.
The guy who plays Maximus in it also said something where I guess when they originally like started it and created it, that it's planned for 5.
They have
seasons.
an outline for 5 seasons.
They have an idea of like if we're gonna go, we're gonna go 5. That seems like a perfect amount of like Fallout content, and then by that point, maybe we get the next Fallout game and everything kind of lines up. And
I don't know.
I don't even know if we'll have Elder Scrolls 6
We will
by
not.
the time that this is done.
We will not.
So let alone new Fallout.
I think everybody collectively totally forgot about the Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra game.
My friend texted me that he's like, "Hey, this game's been delayed," and I said, "He's like, what do we do? This game's been delayed." I said, "Well, first thing is we remember that was a game."
Yeah, I totally forgot about it,
and then we get mad about it.
And then I say, I don't know. I guess
I don't know. Like
we don't even know what it is.
All right, we know a little bit. I mean, it's Captain America and Black Panther.
That's
right?
all they've ever really done.
They never really
the thing they
much
showed
of it,
was like a desk, and it had shit on a desk, and that was it. Fuck game is
I kind of remember that now.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best sign in the world when something that we barely know exists or what it is getting announcements that it's delayed.
Right.
It's like I mean, we're joking about it, but I forgot it was even ever announced or was a thing.
Right.
So it's like you just told me a failure about a thing that I wasn't even on my radar to know it was a failure.
Yeah.
I would have been pleasantly surprised to hear more info about it later.
I would like to see what a trailer of. I would like to see what that game is. Like, what is it?
I would, like it's weird that we haven't, and maybe that'll be at one of these showcases this summer or something. I don't know, but I'd like to see more about what the actual game is.
But the thing is, here's the other argument. It's like, did anyone think it was coming out this year?
No.
Then how is it delayed?
I didn't even remember it was a 2025 like planned release. So
right, but again, this goes back to when we talked about GTA 6 last time, where it's like where GTA 6 was delayed. It never had a release. It
just was a window of 2025
that was never supposed to come out. Like GTA, they said 20.
Look nice.
The GTA said 2025. No one ever. No, you can't delay that game. It was never. No. That's not how it works.
They should have. Well, as I say, they should have just done the Elder Scrolls 6 thing and just said nothing.
Yeah,
just put out a trailer with the name and that's it.
That doesn't bite them in the ass every couple months.
No, not at all. Here's the thing we're working on after the next thing we're working on. Like that, what a dumb decision that was.
And we talked about it, I think at the time we're like that was clearly done to like try to shut people up. Like yes, it is a thing.
100%.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. A couple of two different articles about the Xbox handheld, which I think are interesting. So we saw, I think it was last time we recorded, there were leaked, pictures of the Xbox handheld, which it's literally just a ROG Ally.
With some Xbox buttons.
The more interesting thing is, so that's probably what's going to be announced. I saw today it's probably going to be next week. They're going to have the announcement of that thing for a fall release. But now there's a new rumor today that there is a separate actual handheld being worked on for a 2027 release, which makes sense because it's around the time of being a new Xbox, but it will have a Switch-like dock for TV.
Right, which is what it should be.
It probably should be that. Yeah, no. So I feel like that was probably always the plan, but because there is a high demand for an Xbox handheld ever since they've been, kind of toying with it, that was kind of the quick solution was like, we'll just brand it ROG Ally, but that's not what people want.
No.
And I don't think that thing's going to sell. So
no. I am far more interested in a dockable Xbox handheld 100%. Than I am to buy any kind of console from them.
Exactly. That I can download games to.
Yes. Yeah. It has to be able to download stuff, and all it really needs to be able to do is play Game Pass. That's all it really has to do.
I asked myself this question today: do you think there is a single and I'll put that out there if somebody wants to write in? Is there a single person out there that pays for Game Pass solely to stream games to a device? That's what I want to know. Is there a person? Does that person exist?
That would be insane.
I'm just curious. And it's not a thing that I'm not putting out there because I want to make fun of it. I just genuinely want to know. Does that customer, like Microsoft keeps saying, exist? I don't think
that is true. I guess your argument is right
does.
because Microsoft keeps trying to claim that that's a thing.
Every time they talk about Game Pass, they put cloud in there as like that's a huge part of it, and I'm like,
but I'm the perfect example of how even under optimal conditions it doesn't work. I tried to stream Starfield via Game Pass to an Xbox One X with a hardwired Ethernet connection, and it barely functioned.
Yeah.
who is doing anything? I can't imagine. Like, my system can't be much better optimized for that unless I had Google Fiber.
I know somebody who recently. I know someone who recently did that for Avowed, like your same exact setup situation, and it was just as bad as you described Starfield. And we're going 2 years later,
screen tearing, like everything.
That's why I beg the question: like, who is that customer? Do they?
And
exist?
they specifically say that like my Xbox One X is powerful enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is one of the things they used to say was like, oh yeah, you can just.
I don't think they say it anymore. To be
not
fair,
a problem.
They did at one point. Yeah. They said a lot of different things at one point, though, to be fair. But Avowed has got a huge update in 2025 roadmap, which what I would tell you is that probably at the end of that roadmap is a PS5 release for that game.
Yep.
That'll be the definitive version. So it'll be time for you to play Avowed when that, at that point.
That's what I was waiting for.
I saw that and I looked at it, I was like, okay, maybe end of this year will be the time to go back to Avowed. Because I enjoyed what I played of it, but it definitely does need some patchwork.
I would like to play Starfield for real. Where is my PS5 version?
I think
that's a weird one.
I could see that being at the showcase, Xbox
but
showcase.
I feel like we said that last year because it was like it had been enough time by that point.
Yeah, but you'll be right eventually.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but let's put it this way:
there'll be a Half-Life 3 1 year, right? Like you're going to be right eventually.
Hey, that seems almost more real than a lot of other.
I didn't
games
put that
point.
in the news simply because I saw that and I just kind of laughed. It was like, there's no fucking way.
That game exists when it comes out, and not a minute before it.
I also think that's the kind of thing where like. I don't think there'll be any. I think it'll just be one day because it's Valve and it's Steam that they'll just be like, "Hey, it's out today. It exists. You can buy it." So if it really does exist, I don't think they're gonna.
You want to see Steam
Speaking
crash?
of games that'll be, Speaking of games that'll be, can't possibly hit the expectations. That might be the way to release it. Just there can't be the hype if it's just out.
Yeah, I agree with that because there's no way it'll ever hit those expectations.
And then Valve never makes another fucking video game ever. It's just
the end credits is just a giant middle finger.
Yeah, it's a goodbye.
That's it. Like we're done.
So I think we did briefly talk about it earlier, but Nintendo highlighted more today that there are a bunch of Switch 1 games that are getting free performance upgrades for Switch 2. Which I could say what the list of them are. It's some of them are like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Others of them I kind of shrug my shoulders at, but whatever. 51 worldwide games, like sure. ARMS, that's kind of an odd choice, but okay.
Yeah.
Big Brain Academy.
For me, if the update isn't literal arms, I don't want it. That's I got real excited. I was like,
some
games
my arms
aren't
updated. For you.
Yeah, my arms are getting updated. I'm so excited.
Doug Bowser doesn't care about you.
Yeah, he just gave PR speech. I was like, when am I getting my arms? And
I'm really here to talk about
the
Amiibo you can only buy in the store. So fucking dumb.
Big Brain Academy, is it Brain versus Brawn? I don't know.
It's Brain versus Brain, homie.
Brain versus
Maybe you
Brain.
need to play it.
Yeah, probably. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I wish it was that other Pokemon game.
The new
Super
the
Mario
ones that don't work.
The one that does need it. Yeah, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Super Mario Odyssey. And then the one that I do think needs it because it had some frame rate issues, Link's Awakening, the remaster, it did need a little bit. And then Echoes of Wisdom is on there, which I have not played that. So
I need to go back and finish that game.
So I looked at, I was like, okay, there's like 3 or 4 games here that are in my backlog that, all right, now
I like the Odyssey one. Did you see what the Odyssey one of the things is? Game share, so 2 people can play together. And then and share online via game chat. You know that thing that tanks the system?
I saw they put out a thing. I didn't put it in here, but I saw the article where it said that it's a noticeable
game chat uses
really
significant resources. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, they showed you how well it works in that thing. Not well.
We made fun of it at that time, but that's what it's going to be.
It would be like if this Zoom thing we're in right now ran at 5 frames per second with gameplay behind it.
Yeah,
that's what it would look like.
It's crazy.
I don't know who the hell's going to use that anyway.
I don't either.
Put out
just
Uno
use
and
Discord.
we'll find out.
There you go. The real reason to get game chat. Uno. I'll buy your camera then. Final news article then. We talked about GTA port earlier. The Red Dead Redemption 2 rumors back on the table. This time now because there's reportedly a Switch 2 version coming. And because of that, they will do a next-gen upgrade for PS5 and Series X versions of that game. So
isn't it weird that they haven't already?
It's weird that they haven't because, after replaying Red Dead 1, I was like, man, I'd really like to play Red Dead 2. It'd be cool if they upgraded that game on, I actually bought a physical copy of it because I didn't have a physical copy of it. So for PS4.
The other reason this announcement kind of gets me excited, I am really looking forward to the strange flood of games that are just going to all of a sudden appear on the Switch 2 that really have no business being on there. Because remember, Switch did it too, where it's like Skyrim and all this other shit just kind of started showing up, and you're like, I don't know about that.
2016. Remember how
Wolfenstein, it's just, I don't know. The Switch 2 is going to get all the same treatment where for the next 6 months are going to be.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, what I saw of Cyberpunk, because I put that in that category, it seemed to run pretty decently. Yeah. So, because I saw when that got announced,
years to be optimized.
It has.
To the point where a lot of people who played it in the beginning say it's not the same game anymore.
We can talk about game recommendations really quick here because that caps the news. I put it in here just because I'm in the Doom mood. But if you've never played Doom 2016, that is of these three, and I'm sure I'll probably come out the other end of Dark Ages and still have this as the top of the three. But that game is tremendous, and it's a great going back to the roots of Doom, especially before it was Doom 3, which is a very different game. And I remember at the time when it came out, nobody knew, because we were in that weird period where Bethesda did not want to give reviewers codes for games early.
Mm-hmm.
So it was way up until the release of that game, and it was kind of is this game going to be good? Is it not? Should I take the chance on it? And then it hit. It was an amazing game. So.
You remember when Doom 3, this is just funny, a Doom 3 thing I remember. Remember when they had to re-release a different version of that game that had a mod where the flashlight was taped to the gun?
Yes, I remember
because
that.
you couldn't use both at the same time?
Yeah, it is very weird.
They fixed it? Yeah.
They did, yeah.
So dumb.
But Doom 2016, that would be my pick for the week.
Okay.
You got one in your, right by you, Dan.
Yeah, mine is, I pulled out Catherine. This is a very good...
It's a next-gen version of that game.
Yeah, you can get on.
Yeah,
you can download it pretty easily on current stuff. This is just the 360 copy I had behind me. The thing about this game is so at its core, it is a puzzle game, by far. Where, you're climbing a tower and pulling out blocks and using combos and stuff. But that wasn't the part of the game I liked the most. I liked the story and the decisions, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that affects other things, and it's a really great visual novel puzzle game.
It's good Atlas
made by Atlas. Yeah, I mean, so the qualities there in terms of the graphics and the sound and all that stuff. But Ryan and I were talking about it before we started. This game's also shockingly difficult towards the end. Because it requires pretty fast thinking during the quote unquote boss levels.
Yeah, and there's a special mode. It's not part of the story, but there's a mode at the end that if you're an achievement type person, on True Achievements, for instance, has one of the highest ratios of people who, because it's you have to be perfect
I think
to do everything.
Because there's that game within the game where you have to play that little thing, and it is you have to be moved perfect pretty much to finish it. But even the boss levels are punishing at times because you have to be constantly thinking moves ahead. But it's got multiple endings. I think even on the new versions, so the big thing about this game was it's Catherine versus Catherine, because there's two different ones. There's a third one now if you play the current
in the newer version. It's kind of a director's cut.
Yeah, there's more content and stuff that was cut out but has been added back in and stuff. But super great game.
It's double for Catherine.
But it's also the thing about this game too, constantly on sale for $10.
Oh digital sale.
And for that price, phenomenal.
Phenomenal. But you, Matt?
I'm gonna tell you Age of Empires 2, man.
Okay. I can agree with that.
Yeah, man.
I can agree with that.
I know that the definitive edition is out on Game Pass now, so if you want to give it a shot, you can. Well, if you have Game Pass, of course. But I mean, it was just I think that's the first one I got into, so that's what kind of like stuck for me. And if you enjoy those type of games, it's just kind of fun to play. I didn't play much, honestly. I didn't spend much of my time playing the campaign. It was more of the just the exhibition type matches.
Yeah.
Than anything else. But I mean, it was still enjoyable, and I still had like fucking hours of fun with it. So I mean, I can't really say much to it. So
when I was in, I would have been early years high school. What got me into Age of Empires was that I don't think a lot of people played it, but Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which was like basically a skin of over Age of Empires 2. I played a shit ton of that, and then that was my gateway into like, oh, actually, it's just Age of Empires with the Star Wars flair. So, and then I got into Age of Empires 2 back then. But that remaster, remake, whatever we're calling it, that is a great version of Age of Empires. So
it is very solid,
phenomenal game.
Yeah.
You got any game you want to pick, Ryan?
Always Guardian Legend for NES.
Okay.
I will always recommend that game anytime I'm put in a position like this to say that game rules. That's what I want a remake of. I want a live service Guardian Legend. That's what I want. That game is so good. It's if you're not familiar, it's a half adventure, half shmup kind of game.
Okay.
All of like the dungeons, quote unquote, you basically transform into a spaceship, and then you do vertical shoot 'em up levels.
All right.
It's awesome. Great music. You have to pirate it. You basically have to. It's
probably impossible to find. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's no other. I mean, the card itself isn't that expensive, but come on, it's 2025.
Finding it. Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. But highly recommend that game. I play it at least once a year.
Okay.
It's
nice.
dope.
All right. Was this in here for this week, Dan? You want to talk about this, or was that last week?
We can talk about that a little bit. The GameStop dumbass move of the week. There's been a couple, so we'll run through them pretty quick because it's lightning round. There was a post, I think it was on Reddit, where basically like some store was basically like begging people to get like GPGs and warranties. Like they'd actually like printed something out saying like, wow, please buy these from us or whatever. It's like, look, man, I get it. Okay, we get it. I worked there. I had to sell those things every damn day. You don't print out something basically begging people to help you keep your job to sell a fucking $2 warranty. No, ridiculous. So that was one thing. It got nuked pretty quick and gone.
That's stupid.
The dumbass move of the week from today is the GameStop social media guy whoever he is a complete tool. He posted a thing today about talking about like the Switch 2 Midnight and basically revealing that they're going to have more. I think we talked about it last time that I said that like they're going to have additional ones available for the Midnight. Mm-hmm. Fine. Posting this, saying this online is just going to make things worse.
10 times worse.
Because now you're going to get people who are lined up along with the people who are doing pre-orders and the people who want to do system transfers, and they have all these trades and trying to get all this shit done at fucking midnight. It's not going to work.
I predict we will get some emails about this next time we record, and then the time after will be after the launch. So we're gonna have some after real fun emails.
The launch is gonna be a shit show.
It's gonna be bad.
The only thing I can tell you is how I would run it would be like, all right, we got 6 extra, right? You have it pre-ordered, go to the left. You don't have it pre-ordered, go to the right. After the 6th person, you can go home.
Yeah.
Anybody in line, we will not be doing system transfers in store. No. It will not work.
It's not going to
work.
Our
Wi-Fi is not good enough, period. No. B, it's going to take too long. C, your system might not have enough charge to do it.
At midnight, I'm not going to be here till 4 o'clock in the morning.
D, I'm closing after the last person buys their reserved Switch 2. If your stuff is not done in the middle, because the thing is they're going to want to do the transfer before they buy it, but then trade it in. No.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad.
Nintendo gave you a way to do it without even having to be in the same room. You can upload your stuff, buy your system, go home, and download it. That's your choice. You want to you want to just come in and buy it, go home and do it, and then trade in your system later to get games or other things? Absolutely. Sure. But there's no way in hell system transfers are going to work. Some of these stores got 50, 60, 70 reserves.
Yeah.
For a Switch 2 for a console launch, 80 to 90% of these people are going to be there at midnight. There's no way.
It's going to be nuts.
The trades. You know how much trades are going to have to deal with?
Ridiculous.
It's going to take hours to process that stuff the next day. And the next day is going to be everybody picking up the rest of their stuff and dealing with every person off the street who walks in and thinks they can just fucking buy one.
You got it?
Even if you put, and like, this is something I've talked about before because it doesn't fucking matter. Because I worked the Wii launch, and the Wii launch was a shit show too. We only had like 20. They were all reserved. We had like 3 extra remotes. They were reserved. We had nothing extra. I put a sign on the fucking door the next day that said, "We don't have any Wiis. Don't know when we're getting any. Apology." Like, you know, the nicest corporate speak way I could think to do it. And I would watch people walk up to the door, stop, read the sign, open the door, and ask me if I had any fucking Wiis. And I wanted to like scream in their face.
They're special, and you might look in the back and find one for them.
But like, console launches are a shit show. Like by all accounts, the PS4 and the Xbox One was not that bad.
It wasn't really that bad, no.
But it's because fans of that are not Nintendo fans. Nintendo fans are far worse than any other. The Sony boys, the Xbox people. They're by leaps and bounds the worst group of people.
It is.
Behind Pokemon card scalpers, which is another thing that's going on at GameStop right now, too. But
I would say that, like, of Nintendo, you can take this subsect of just Pokemon in general. But
that's a whole other...
It is, it is.
The cards people are scum. But
I have a quick question for someone like I have mine through Walmart, so I'm not going to have to deal with this directly.
Yeah.
As someone who went through, you said you went through the Wii.
I did a ton.
GameStop.
He's done a lot.
How many of the new consoles came in a plain black GameStop case that you then had to sell as a new game, even though it was clearly opened and used?
What are you talking about?
I'm making a joke about how GameStop sells new games. But they come in a plain black case.
Well, yes, when you order them online. Yeah, don't order your new games online from GameStop unless it's a reserve. Unless it's a pre-order, do not order a new game online from GameStop.
Yeah,
go to the fucking store.
I could tell you're going through some PTSD now because you were just like, what do you mean? What happened? What did I need to do?
GameStop did a lot of dumb shit, so I mean, you got to narrow it down. But yeah, so this Switch 2 thing, like for them to come out and be like, "Hey guys, we're gonna have extras and come to the midnight, and we're gonna give out some stores are gonna give out fucking free Red Bulls to people." The world?
The funniest thing I saw on that is that they had to actually announce that the Red Bulls are only available for GameStop Pro members.
Oh my god!
You can't just get one for being there.
Well, you know how many? Do you know how many GameStops? I guarantee you went against policy and told people like you have to have a pro card to even reserve a Switch 2, or you have to have a pro card to be here at midnight, or you have to blah 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 blah. Like the amount of times that people like abuse that thing is ridiculous. Here's the secret about shopping at GameStop: very few times you need a pro card to do anything at that place. There are very specific things, but it's not to reserve and or buy a Switch 2.
I figured GameStop was going to GameStop this eventually. Because, like, this is anecdotally, obviously I'm not as connected or plugged in as you guys are, but I had actually heard pretty decent reports about how it was relatively easy to go in the next morning and, like, it seemed like they actually had their
because they got far more than anyone thought they were going to get.
Yeah.
Like, far more. So I was reading the stuff where it's like people were walking into a GameStop at 4 p.m. and saying, "Hey, do you have any left?" And they're going, "Yeah, we do." Yeah. But then also I went to a GameStop that Saturday to pick up some stuff and watched at least, I was only there for 20 minutes. 5 people ask, because they do the same thing. Account knows exactly what I talk about. They walk in, you say, "Hey, how's it going? Do you need anything?" And they go, "Oh, no." And they wander around.
Look around awkwardly for a minute or two.
Do nothing. Yeah. Walk up to the counter and go, "Oh, do you have any like Switch 2s available?" No. Like, if that's what you're here for, just ask. No one is here to like you're stupid for asking 2 days later, but no, we don't have any. And you didn't have to pretend like you were interested in buying anything else.
Wild.
Like what game are you playing? Because as soon as they asked that and were told no, they would leave. And then the next person in line who had to have heard the response would ask the same question. That's what I'm talking about when these people, like, you put a sign in front of people, it doesn't matter. Nothing stops people from assuming that they're special, they're going to get the next thing. No, man, if you didn't have it reserved immediately, you didn't get one. Will you be able to get one by the end of the year? You probably will. To be honest with you, you probably will. As long as you're paying attention, they're going to be out there. It's not going to be that big of a deal because the demand after this initial thing, I don't think it's going to be as high as people think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because by all accounts, there were enough to get right now.
Yeah. How long? I don't remember specifically how long. I feel like it wasn't that long before you could get a Switch relatively.
Switches
easy.
were bad. They were bad for months. Because the problem was we get like 4. And so it really meant nothing. And then they would announce it ahead of time. Push the
bundles.
Yeah, and then it became we weren't getting enough as a company to meet anywhere close to what the actual demand was. So they would force people to buy 3 games, a controller, whatever. With
the other bullshit.
Yeah, and then the people would try to return. So you'd buy that online because we wouldn't have the bundles in store. It would be online, or we could help you buy it online. Then they get it, and they would bring all the extra stuff back to us to return. And want to keep the Switch, and because I would tell them, sorry, you got to return the Switch too. What? You bought it as a bundle. It's
well,
a bundle.
Then eventually they got smart and then skewed it.
Yeah, it eventually became one item as opposed to 9 different things that in theory are returnable. But it said when you bought the bundle, you're under the assumption that you're buying all of this, and returning one is returning everything. Plus, like from my standpoint, I didn't want to take a $600 hit.
Yeah,
because of something you bought it online or a different store, because my store tanks if you do that. And sorry, my job is based on my store's performance, and I could really give a shit about you at this point. It's just like the Switch was a lot more of a pain in the ass. The Switch 2, like we're talking about stores got 5 times the amount of these that we got as Switches.
Yeah. I remember seeing some signs that said, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, like in some,
some big stores got 100, 120. Some stores probably only got 10, 12, 15, 20. But
so how do we know which stores are getting extra Switch 2s?
As far as I know, it's everyone, except for probably the very tiny ones. So like the ones that are kind of in the middle of nowhere that probably have no reason to be open anymore. They're probably maybe getting one. But any flagship store is probably getting an extra 50. My friend's store that got a bunch to start is probably getting another 10. So it will be possible, but you will have to go at midnight if you want those. Yeah. Those are not going to be there the next day.
Yeah. No.
Because there are going to be enough people who line up at these stores at midnight to try to get one. But I think the fact that they announced it on their social media, they do it as like to pretend like it's all about goodwill and stuff, but it's really just to try to drive stuff to their stores and make a shit show for employees.
I was talking about, giving out free Red Bulls.
Insane.
If you're a pro member, though.
Hey, remember
if you're a pro member.
Insane.
There were 2 things once where I remember we once got a giant box of Mike and Ike's. I remember that.
Did we keep that?
We did, because I fucking ate them over the course of like 2 years.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like that's what happened.
We had just a giant cardboard box of Mike and Ike's. I was like, those are mine.
Fuck it. Those are mine. Yeah, I remember.
But there was something else we got a lot of. Doritos one year for Halo. I know that, but those we gave out.
There was something, because I remember it lasted a while, and it was
like
in the
a
back.
Snack mix.
Yeah,
and I
don't remember
a lot of that
too.
But you're gonna give me free food. That's the store's free food. Sorry.
That's the store's free food, man. I don't know. We can kick real quick over to movie stuff. Did you not watch anything, Dan?
Nothing important.
All right, so we're just saying you're hyped for Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible's next, and I'm gonna end up see it twice.
See it twice, yeah. I ventured out, saw my first movie in the theater since Joker 2.
Ooh.
That's how long it's been. Taste in your mouth.
Hey man, I needed 6 months to cleanse myself. So from that, but we saw Clown in a Cornfield at that theater that I usually go to. The first time I've been to a movie that was not sold out. There actually wasn't that many people at this. They're all seeing Thunderbolts. So I enjoyed it. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Like, I enjoyed it. It's not So my fear going into the movie, and I won't spoil it, but my fear going in was, oh, we're just gonna try and make another like clown slasher character, and that's not gonna work now when you have like Terrifier and other stuff. It's not that. It diverts that pretty quickly into that movie that's not what's going on. And there's something a little bit more going on with this town. There are parts of that movie I would say that are not very well acted, but like it is. I forgot going into it that it's a Shudder movie, which means it's probably up on Shudder now or will be in a week, which, you know, whatever, but that's how most of those movies work. So which made the trailers they showed in front of that movie fun because it was Shudder movies that like so there was like stuff that I didn't know of.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, that's kind of cool. But the other cool thing about the theater by me, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, is like when you and I go to the theater by you, it is like a fucking half hour of like preview, commercial, bullshit, all this. Every time I go to this theater, it is like 3 trailers, boom, you're ready to go.
God, that's nice.
I don't know if it's a different chain or what it is.
It's gotta be what it is.
It is incredible. Like that. Like I like seeing movie trailers, don't get me wrong, but like I'm good after like 3, maybe 4, and I'm like, all right, it's time.
Yeah, there's always a moment of watching like a movie at the theater where like, because like I like the trailers. For me, that's part of the experience.
It is, yeah.
But like trailers. You'll watch trailers, and then at one point you're like, all right, surely that was the last one. And then another one starts and you're like, God damn it, what happened here? What Groundhog Day loop did I get into?
Every time you think you're done, you have at least like 3 more.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, fuck. So Mission Impossible is gonna be fucking 4 hours of my time.
It's gonna be another hour, yeah.
Probably my favorite example of like kind of painting how long the trailers go. So my wife and I, we don't, generally speaking, I just don't go to a lot of actual movies at the movies anyway. But the last thing I think my wife and I went to, or second to last, it was right before my son was born. So my wife is like 8 months pregnant. We're going to the Super Mario Brothers movie. Because that was one I felt like for me was like, I want to go see that in the theater. During like the first trailer, my wife accidentally spilt her like entire Diet Coke all over her. Like just covered, and she's like, I'm not gonna sit and watch a 2-hour movie just covered in this. We were at a theater that was connected to a mall. She'll be like, okay, she was like, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go buy another pair of pants because I can't sit here like this. And I was like, you're gonna miss the movie, like you're gonna miss part of the movie. And like for me, that kind of like when you grow up poor, you don't miss part of anything that you spent money for. You know, I will never leave a sporting event early. I will never leave a movie early, even if it's garbage. Like that's not going to happen. Yeah. I was like, you're going to miss, you're going to miss like 15, 20 minutes of the movie at least. She went, bought pants, changed, and got a new drink, and still watched the final 2 trailers.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. I mean, she was very efficient, don't get me wrong, but you shouldn't be able to buy a new wardrobe and replace the drink you spilled and still have plenty of time.
No.
That's insane.
Yeah, like I said, it's just I don't want to get too far into that movie because it's hard to explain without spoiling it, but it is actually worth a watch. There's 2 other books, so I'm sure, and I did see it was successful. So it was a movie that was made for $1 million. It made 3.6 in the theater, so like that's a good turnaround.
For a Shudder movie, that's perfectly
for a Shudder
fine.
Movie, right? Yeah, I think they said it was their most successful theater release.
They're starting. I've been seeing like commercials and stuff for more of these like Shudder
of
things.
Those things. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Like I said, it's not the greatest movie in the world I've ever seen, but like it subverted my expectations enough that I had a good time with it. So, and I would like to see another one. The only other movie I watched in the last week, the other night, I was like, all right, I need to watch something else. I don't want to have just Clown in a Cornfield on here. So I had to pick something that I knew my girlfriend wasn't interested in. That's the important thing. Because if I do that, then I'm in big trouble. So I watched Locked, which is that Anthony Hopkins Skarsgård gets stuck in the car. That for me, this was a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It starts really good, very much like it starts like you think phone booth, like one of those high high octane, like this is a really weird situation and a weird thing to film an entire movie around. But there are too many just really convenient things that are written into the plot of the movie, like what Anthony Hopkins' actual profession is. I don't know if they say what it is in the trailer.
No.
It is too fucking convenient for what's going on here. It's stuff like that kind of ruins it. But I will say the first half hour of it is really well done, and then it just gets to a point where I'm like, man, I hate to say it, but it's like, man, I'm kind of tired of this dude being locked in this fucking car.
I'm kind of tired of the entire premise of the movie.
I'm like, I just kind of want to see what happens here. So, but I don't know. It just didn't hold my interest in the way that I wanted it to. So, it was a 6 out of 10 for me. The only other thing that I'll throw in here, they put out the new Superman trailer, and I actually didn't even know it was coming until like the day before. And they're like, hey, we're gonna put out a new Superman trailer. This is way better. I don't know if you saw it, Dan.
I didn't watch it.
Okay. It's way better. It now, I will say, it looks more like a Superman movie and not Superman, or I should say DC heroes with Superman. Like it doesn't seem like that as much anymore. I still will say there's too much going on. I feel like that's going to be a problem. But this trailer, at least, it did two things for me. One, it shows me this guy seems like he's going to be a really good Superman. There are a couple scenes where he gets to speak, which is always a big problem I have with these trailers. Like, watch that first trailer, he barely says a word in it.
Right.
This one, there was a lot of dialogue. The way he's playing the character seems really cool. The other thing, and this was probably one of my most important things going into this movie, they have a scene in this trailer, and I think they did this purposely just to slap Snyder fans. But there is a scene in this trailer of a conversation with him and Pa Kent, and it just like immediate, like, wow, we of course corrected everything that we did with that character in the DC.
Sucked up into a tornado.
Where it's like, I don't know if you should do this or not. Like, no, this is, they show him, and then later they show his mom as well. What they are doing with these characters is exactly what you want to see those characters be. So it made me a lot more excited for the movie, because like I think I said to my buddy at one point, I'm like, man, I'm more excited about Megan 2 than Superman, and that's weird. So
yeah.
But no, I'm a lot more on board and more excited. There's no reason which I'm not gonna go see Superman, but like I was more tempered on it than I am now. So way better trailer. So Dan, you didn't see anything, you're just ready for Tom Cruise.
Mission Impossible.
What about you, Matt?
So I actually was able to watch The Accountant too,
which is high on my list. When I will watch it, because I just watched the first one.
And so maybe it's been a minute since I've watched the first one, and I still need to go back and rewatch
9 years
first one.
since the first one came out. So
maybe so. But I feel like in the second one that Ben Affleck's character plays really hard into his like disability.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't feel like in the first one it was as bad as it is in the second one.
Okay.
Not like bad, not like in a bad way, but it feels like he's
What are you saying? It's bad to be disabled? Is that what I'm hearing, Matt?
No, never.
Clearly say that as he looked at you.
Your name is Ryan Sucks, and now being too handicapped is a problem.
Listen.
I get it.
Not like that. But it's just it feels like it feels like they put more on that than they did in the first one, and maybe that's where the difference is in this movie. I'm not gonna say it's bad though, because it really wasn't. I really feel like
better not.
Yeah. I'm sorry, T-Rex. I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
It's fat T-Rex. Get it right. Oh, you're not allowed in my comment sections anymore.
I'm sorry. But because like I really feel like it was still good. It was still as good as the first one. It's just it felt like a different movie than.
Is it a little more comedic than the first one? Maybe.
Kinda. That's where I kind of felt like.
I mean, there's comedy. There is comedy in the first one, but there are a lot of scenes that play it very straight too. So
yeah. So I feel like I need to rewatch the first one again just to kind of like see how it plays up with the second one.
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it. Like I didn't find anything really like outstandingly wrong with it.
The second one is more of like almost like a buddy cop movie with his brother, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where the comedy element kind of comes in towards the end of that first one, is when they finally get to, oh hey, my brother's here, kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So
yeah, because he comes in relatively quick. Like I think it's like maybe like 30 minutes into this second movie, his brother's back essentially, and they're kind of back to doing their like you said, their buddy cop type thing. It was good. I really enjoyed it when I watched it. And like it kept my interest, and I guess you could say the fight scenes, like the gun scenes, were really solid in this one too. So it was a really
I am excited to see it when it's up. So
yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Another one I watched I will say please don't watch is called Conjuring the Cult. I caught it, I believe, on Tubi.
Okay.
It is horrible.
Well, Tubi is a dumping ground for
ground for bad movies.
Yeah.
Hey, my special's on Tubi.
Ryan's special's on Tubi.
Yeah, but that's not a movie.
No, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
It's a dumping ground. 10 out of 10.
It's where they put all the crippled specials, right, Matt?
It's just disabled Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure.
But the acting was just really horrible, and you can kind of play I didn't finish the whole thing. I got through maybe 40 minutes and I had to cut it off. It was just really bad acting, so don't watch it. But do watch Ryan's special on Tubi because it is fantastic.
Good save.
Good
save. Unarmed and dangerous, everybody.
You're
That's
welcome.
what it's. Good save.
I should mention. I now that I think about it, I should mention the other hot trailer that came out this week, because we did watch it and we are excited for it. And it's Nobody 2.
Oh,
Nobody.
God, yeah.
Holy shit! That looks like a movie.
Yeah, I said, babe, you gotta watch this trailer. And she's I remember that movie.
My girlfriend has not seen the first one, and I made her watch trailer for this one, and that made her go, "Okay, I probably watched that first movie."
Yeah, and it's like I told you, like I'm super into it because I finally watched that first one. And it's like he plays so against his type.
Yeah,
that
he's not.
You would never expect it to be good.
No.
And he's great. And the second one, I told you, my favorite thing that happens in these movies, like whether it's him or a Statham movie or whatever, is when the bad guy does that one thing where you're like, man, you probably shouldn't have done that. And in this trailer, that dude slaps his daughter on the back of the head, and I went, oh, that's going to be real bad.
That's going to be real bad.
And then you get that scene, you get that action scene after, because they're going to show you one.
Yeah.
But and that one was
I just laugh when his wife's like, don't go back, don't do it. He's like, gotta do it.
I just love it because he goes, I think I left my phone. And she knows exactly what that means. And you're like, oh shit.
It looks
really good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's exactly that kind of movie, and I love those movies so much.
Is there anything you've watched recently, Ryan?
Not
Unarmed and Dangerous. It's on Tubi.
I watch my own special daily.
You got to get that view count up.
Yeah, to bump those numbers.
I'll go watch it 2 more times just because I talked a lot of shit to you today. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that. I'll be honest. This is a ridiculous reason, but I have not watched movies in about a month. So I know we get into TV in a little bit. I've been watching some shows, but when I did my my Asia trip recently, so I was doing a bunch of military bases. So it was LA to Japan, Japan to Singapore, Singapore to Guam, Guam home. And there's a lot of everything in between there. You have to go back to Japan first. So I did a ton of flights. I think over the course of that trip, I watched 14 movies on planes.
All right.
And right now I kind of just need a break. I can give you the quick rundown of everything I watched during that time.
Okay.
It's been I'm not going to obviously do a full review of everything.
Yeah. Cool.
So I watched Shaun of the Dead. Had never seen that before. It was all right. I'm not a big zombie movie guy, but like, I think Simon Pegg's relatively funny. And like, it's not movie of the year, but it was fine. The Natural. I'd actually never watched The Natural.
Okay.
That movie's great. I'm mad at myself for sleeping on that one. Galaxy Quest still holds up.
Okay. I love that movie
so good. The Great Outdoors.
Okay.
Not the best Aykroyd or John Candy movie.
Yeah.
I didn't really love that one. I think they're both funny. Not really in that one. The Wild Robot, which is good. I really
Okay.
like that a lot.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I'd finished the trilogy of rewatching that. I hadn't watched that being an adult yet.
Okay.
You know, I had vague memories of those movies from being like 8 or 9 years old.
Unpopular opinion, that is my favorite one.
I actually,
I know-
that's my favorite. Of
I know
all of them,
everybody
too.
goes for Raiders, and I get it, but I just think that the dynamic in Last Crusade is far more interesting and like just fun. Like him and his dad.
I always really remember the like when he's the actual like traps he has to go through at the end. That had such a lasting memory in my brain of being like the coolest thing ever when I was like 8 or 9 years old. That it's always stuck with me. I really liked it. Truman Show. I still think it's good. I think it's
great.
still
I love
good.
that movie
It's a
too.
great movie.
Woman of the Hour. Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
it's Anna Kendrick. It's about the true story of the dating
Oh,
game
right.
killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was okay. I think they fictionalized too much of it.
Okay.
I think
I know what
the
you mean
real
there.
story is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like it's insane
Yeah.
that this dude like how like, but like so like they hit some of the major points, but they also like they tweaked enough stuff that didn't really need to
Sure.
be tweaked. You know, it was fine. A Real Pain. Which is Jesse Eisenberg, and it's the
right.
one
That's pretty
that
recent.
Kieran
Yeah.
Culkin won the
Yeah.
Oscar for.
Yes. Okay.
Phenomenal
Okay.
movie. Love that a lot. I watched Here, which was Tom Hanks and
Is that the one that's all in like the one house?
in the one room,
Right.
basically,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the movie itself, the story itself is okay. I think it's a really cool cinematic, like the fact that like it's like 150 years of the same house in different scenes in the same room, and how they. I thought that was like a really cool way to film it. Juror Number 2, which I think is a Clint Eastwood.
It's supposedly his last movie. Yeah. It's been on my thing for a while to watch.
I didn't love it. It was my least favorite of all the movies that I watched during
Fair
this time. All Happy Families, which is Josh Radnor and from How I Met Your Mother. It's okay. It was fine. Chicago. I never actually watched the musical version of Chicago.
Okay.
It reaffirmed how terrible of an actress that Catherine Zeta-Jones is. I don't know how she became famous. I don't know how
There's a
anyone
reason
likes her.
she became famous.
Okay, fair enough.
You ever
But
seen
there's, like,
Entrapment? There's a reason.
yeah, I would say there are many other attractive women who are also good actors.
But those lasers, though.
I'll say yes.
I saw Entrapment a few times in my youth.
Yeah.
as it were. And then I finished with Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that movie.
There you go.
Yeah, I liked it. It's 80s comedies have a way different cadence than modern comedies do. Like they're a lot slower in a lot of points. But like the movie's great because I'll have moments where I'm like, this just doesn't land the same way. Like something from 1985 just doesn't have the right pace for 2005 or 2025. And then he'll get on the motorcycle and start driving away after doing the dance thing, and then immediately crashes into the sign. And then people on the airplane look at me like I'm a fucking psychopath because I can't stop laughing. So
I used to
worth it
watch
for me.
that movie all the time as a kid. And the more I think about it now, it's really not that much of a kid's movie, but
yeah, and Pee-wee is such a cunt. Like he is so
he's
he is
terrible.
such a dick to everybody
most
all the
people in
time.
that are terrible.
Yeah, these awful people.
It's kind of dark at times. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the movie slate that I watched during all those flights. So I'll get back into some movies eventually here, but it's been TV since then.
What TV stuff have you been watching?
Biggest thing I've been watching is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
So good.
So
incredible.
Yeah, so super funny. I think Andy Samberg is brilliant. I've always thought he was really funny. My wife and I had just gotten through Severance not long before I started that, and we needed which I love Severance, but we needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't watched it, so but I've
just,
heard that.
Would not get into anything, but like it was a show. My wife was getting frustrated with me because I couldn't binge it. She would want to watch like more episodes, and like it was doing things to me. Like it was very like I couldn't physically put myself through 2 episodes in a row. So this is my palate cleanser right now that I've been watching.
Brooklyn.
It's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I like a good stupid comedy that also has a through line that like the story builds on itself.
That show, I was just gonna say that show like progressively just like becomes a better version of itself. Like as it goes on, like it really kind of grows into its own thing, and like every character has an arc that from not just like a season arc, but like a whole show arc.
It's surprisingly like touching and poignant at times. I'm only in season 2, so I'm not that deep into it.
Yeah,
but like it's got a lot of stupid slapstick stuff, and then it also has some like just really deep emotional connection like of the characters and stuff. It's I who knows? I mean, the show could fall off a cliff as I'm watching, but as of right now, I highly recommend.
Yeah, I think the one cold open that got me was the Backstreet Boys sing along that they did at one point, and I was like, "All right, I got to watch this entire series now."
I've rewatched that whole thing a couple times, and it's just it's probably one of my favorite shows, just because it never. I know it never gets like boring or full of itself. Like it's always building on itself and becoming something better. And like by the time it ends like the way it should, and like you kind of like it's good that it ends. But like God, that show has some of the best fucking one-liners. Like
for sure.
Yeah, like the only things that I've watched like TV stuff would be like the Law and Orders, and then Handmaid's Tale, which like I don't want to get too deep into that because there's still 2 episodes left. But I will say, like for a last season of a very popular show, that this season took a little too long to get to the point, because like it's the final season. We need to start fucking doing some stuff. The last episode that they just aired is probably, there's a scene in it that is probably one of the most satisfying payoffs I've seen on a TV show. Ooh. So I hope that it can stick its landing at the end, but I will say that scene was a huge payoff. That like I won't say any more about it because it's a huge spoiler for the show, but like after 6 seasons of seeing some of these people go through the shit that they go through, it was incredibly satisfying to see this happen. So it's still a tremendous show. So but it's been that, and like old stuff. Like I'm watching every once in a while, like my girlfriend didn't grow up with a lot of TV shows, so like she never saw the golden era of The Simpsons. So, well, I'm not watching each episode with her. Like I kind of just go through, because The Simpsons is not a show where you want to watch from season 1 to whatever it's on now. But like
that's another thing that I'm always perpetually doing, by the way, is watching from front to back.
But like there are certain ones when I get to it where I'm like, oh, you need to see this episode because this is absurd. And like the most recent example that was the Sideshow Bob episode where they have Niles as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, you need to see this
Cecil?
for obvious reasons. Yeah, Cecil. I'm like, you have to see this for obvious reasons, just to see how ridiculous this is. So that's a classic episode, but stuff like that.
Is the dam the first one? Because I think Cecil comes back a couple times. Is the dam
the
first one?
Yeah, the first one. That's the one we just watched. So
so good.
That's it for like for TV stuff. Other than, I mean, it's been all cooking shows. I don't think I need to talk about those. So other than I will briefly say though, Max or HBO Max, whatever it's called, HBO Max now. Gotta get it right. Took fucking Chopped Off, and I was on volume 26 of 60, and I please put it back up. I want to finish that journey.
They're gonna rename it. It's HBO Max's Chopped.
I made a promise to myself that I was gonna watch every episode of Chopped on there. So, and I've been doing that for a year now. So,
well, now, right as of this moment, you're a big stupid failure.
Exactly. That's how I feel. I'm just like,
how does it feel to know you'll never complete that task ever?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like I remember, because
how can any of your loved ones trust you? That's all I'm saying right now.
We were sitting down to eat dinner like this is like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I was like, all right, we caught up on all other shows. That's usually what we watch when we're caught up on everything else. I went to go put that on, and I'm just sat there I'm like, where the fuck's Chopped? And Alex like, okay, there's Chopped After Hours, Chopped Junior, like all this other stuff. I'm like, where's regular Chopped?
Wait a minute. The other Choppeds are still
all
there?
All the other Chops are still there. And here's
the fuck is that?
Here's a bigger slap to the face. Hulu has regular Chopped select seasons.
Well,
which is like volume 1, volume 24, volume 30. It's just...
Is Discovery Plus still a thing? Is it on there?
No. Discovery Plus got rolled into Max.
Wait, you mean HBO Max?
HBO Max.
Right, okay.
So they own that. So why did they take their own show? They own off the I don't understand it.
That's a whole
the streaming. It's a wild west.
Let's get to it this way. That's owned by Warner Brothers. So there's your answer for everything you've just talked about. That's a big answer.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably got $6 back by taking Chopped off of HBO Max. So they did it.
Probably. Yeah, I can see that.
Allegedly, I'm just reading now because I'm trying to see why this might have happened. Disney Plus apparently has some of the seasons as well.
Okay.
Well, that's Hulu.
Yeah, true. That is who. I hate everything.
Oh, and aren't they doing a combo thing with HBO Max and Disney and Hulu and something?
I pay for that. Yeah.
I
pay for that combo because it's $30 a month instead of almost $50. I hate everything.
I hate streaming. It is
regular HBO Max is going to go up to $30 a month on June 2nd. So it's just please stop.
I think my wife gets that free from being a teacher. That's the only reason we have HBO Max.
Fair.
But I will say one of my future goals, I've alluded to getting into emulation for video games. One of my future goals is to future-proof some of the TV shows and movies that I like as well with a big house server. That's not cheap, and I don't have the know-how, but that is because again, I will always push. I will always push this.
Yeah,
I will give you money for the things that I want if you let me. When you start taking that away from me, I will then.
You got to go down a path.
I will take matters into my own half hands. That is what I will do.
Talk to Kyle after the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can kick over to emails here, and we're gonna kick it off with a slew of emails. So I'm going to preface by saying every episode we do, I clip out 2 or 3 things. And I did not know, unbeknownst to me, that this Borderlands thing was going to hit the fan. And it blew up. We got 18 comments on that clip alone. We got emails, which I'm going to read in a minute. I will flip it. Was I being negative about the game? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it wasn't out of a hatred for Borderlands. It was more of we just want it to be a better game, a better franchise. But let me read the emails first. Mike from San Antonio, Texas. Hey guys, what's up with the hate for Borderlands? Sure, it's not the game that's going to win all the awards, but I found each one of them to supply me with hours upon hours of fun. Seem like you guys are just being dismissive. We have Andy from Atlanta, Georgia. Howdy 572 crew. Decided to take a stand against Borderlands, huh? I do agree with you guys. I played them all, but really only found myself enjoying the first one. I saw a lot of the comments on your YouTube clip, and I'll say that's been what I've seen in the past too. There's a crowd that loves this franchise and will treat it like it's a Kojima release. I just don't get it.
All right. Can I chime in first?
You go first.
Go for it.
I'm going to say having no context. I wasn't here last week, so I other than us kind of discussing it a little bit before we started recording, I don't have the full context. I did not watch the thing. I did not even read these comments that anyone sent. I have no, but I will generally say to anyone that was upset, suck it from the back. All right, because here's the thing, and I'm not even saying that you shouldn't like Borderlands. If you love Borderlands, love it. But what a couple of neckbeards on the internet say about your thing, guess what? You can still enjoy it, you piss baby, cry baby pissant. It's not that big a deal. Like to have a spirited conversation about that sucks. No, it's awesome. That's different. If you can't handle that someone was a little dismissive of the game, well then you just go play the fucking game. If you like it, just go. No one's telling you not to play it. No one wants it to disappear or be off the earth. Just enjoy your game. Anyone else not liking it does not mean you don't have to. If your enjoyment is based on never hearing a negative thing about that thing, oh boy, it must be tough for you out in the real world.
Well, I think the one thing that, because I read all the comments, there's we were called negative Nancy's and this and that. But the one comment that I highlighted that I thought was the funniest, and Dan, you'll agree with this, is it started with, "You are not qualified to talk about Borderlands." And this will not play on the audio version of this, but I'd like to point attention to Dan, who...
You may notice the Borderlands shelf some select titles. As far as you know, that's always been there. The Borderlands shelf,
right? Yeah, maybe.
Like when we talked about Borderlands, this all came from the Borderlands 4, like the initial trailer, and then that one they did. Now, to be fair, I still have not watched the 25-minute state of play or whatever the hell they did on it because I really don't care. Because, and I said this before, I'm buying Borderlands 4 day one, no matter what. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm sick in the head. Like, I play all of these games. I have platinums in most of them, which takes a longer than it should in a lot of these games. I drug this out because I have it. I bought the fucking Borderlands 2 collector's chest when it came out because I'm so excited for these things. Like, here it is. I can show you what's in it. It's nothing exciting. If I can even get it open.
If you can get it open.
Yeah. It's a Borderlands 2 15-month calendar for 12 years ago. It'll work again at some point. There's a Marcus Bob. Like, I love Borderlands. I want to love it more. I want it to be good again, like it was. 2 was probably the last time that I actually enjoyed it. And after having replayed 2, yes, I replayed it probably 2 years ago. I find myself thinking maybe I didn't actually like this game because it's not that good compared to the first one. Is still like the pinnacle. And I'll admit, like the first one, having replayed that within the last 3 or 4 years, isn't super great either, but it's still a pretty good game that I enjoy quite a lot. Now, I'm in the middle of 3. I've platinumed Wonderlands. I platinumed the one-shot of that thing. I did Tales from Borderlands. I'm going to play the second one. I like Borderlands. I don't hate it. I just wish there was more to it. I don't like the fact that, again, I didn't watch the State of Play thing. I don't like the fact that everything I saw before that just seemed like more Borderlands. Why can't we do something else?
Yeah, the first trailer, it almost seemed like it had like a gray tint, like color scheme
brown.
to it. And then the most recent trailer they put out, it looked more colorful.
Right,
so
and that's what I want. I want the game to be fun again. I don't want to play the same game again. Now, from what people have said, they're going to mix gun manufacturers. They're going to allow for that kind of stuff. And yes, a pre-sequel did have the shredder thing, but when I talk about like leveling up guns, like, so one of the things that people complained about or brought up was like, you shouldn't be able to level up your guns because there's a loot system, right? Loot systems in games are boring. They're so boring because the answer to a loot system in a game is to throw so much shit at you constantly over and over and over again that I have to stop every 5 minutes to go through my inventory and go, everything I picked up in the last hour is trash. Like, it is not good. It's not even close to what I have, and I don't want it. So I can break it down to get some credits back that I can buy a gun in a vending machine. I'm never going to buy a gun in a vending machine because they're never as good as the stuff you find. Like, loot systems don't work when they just throw loot at you over and over. You know what game had a loot system? Stranger of Paradise had a fucking loot system, and you couldn't take.
Does that game have a?
Yeah,
I didn't play it.
It's fucking awful because you just pick up hundreds of things. Your inventory capacity in the game is like 350 because that's how much shit they throw at you. Borderlands has a loot system with billions and trillions of guns. You can hold like 30. Wow.
That's after upgrading the
That's
old
after
backpack,
that's after I have to buy that
Wow.
ability to do that.
You have to work to get to that.
The game isn't built to run on a loot system because it forces inventory management.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to break the guns down, get parts, build new guns, and maybe this thing has it. After this, I'll go watch the State of Play thing and just do it. But I don't think it's too much to ask that a franchise that I enjoy and loved at one point be better on the 7th fucking entry.
Yeah.
Like, it's be better. And if this game is going to be $80 because it's so fucking good and it has so much content, then it better be good content.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem I have. Like, you know what, man? I love Final Fantasy series. You can hate on that all you want because, you know what? Half of it's fucking bad too. I just talked about Stranger in Paradise. Not a great game.
One. No.
But
Final Fantasy VIII was amazing. I just want you to know that.
That's wrong too. But
let me ask this question because I think I've asked before. When was the last time you played through it though?
Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII?
Yeah.
Me or him? Because I can't get through it because I don't like it.
Like, has it been like in the last like decade?
I got halfway through it.
I was actually probably going to load it up here within the next week.
Because
I was actually because I got a Switch.
Yeah.
And I got that thing for the Switch, so I was like, "Yeah, let me load this up."
I got halfway through a replay a couple years ago, and
because I was on Matt's side with that for a long time.
You were,
and then that definitive version came out, and I was like, it's time to play Final Fantasy VIII again. And then I played through it, and then I remembered like at a certain point that game's story just falls apart.
It implodes.
It becomes such horseshit at the
end.
And
that game has so many fucked up systems. But anyway,
man.
But Borderlands, like, again, I don't want to play the same game again. I would like improvements and stuff. And that's all I'm asking for. But yes, I'll buy it day one. Yes, I will play through it. Yes, I'll get the platinum in it. Like, it is what it is.
But hey, you're not qualified to talk about Borderlands.
That's just silly to me.
Listen, until you beat Borderlands 4, we're not qualified, okay? So we're just going to stop talking about this.
Next email we have comes from Brett from Manhattan, New York. Hi, 572 guys. This whole thing with Microsoft has me furious. Have you seen the official Xbox Showcase graphic they put out where it lists literally every other platform before their own? I get it. They want to be a third-party publisher, but I just find this the most telling on where their headspace is at. Just because they're in third place doesn't mean that there are millions of users in their ecosystem, and every time they do shit like this, it just sinks the morale around anything Xbox related lower. 2013, they say, was the low point. Nah, we are living in it now. I don't disagree with him on the low point, though. Like,
not at all.
For a long time, I would tell you 2013, but like, we weren't, actively putting the system part of this brand to bed while putting the other, all the games on the competitor's machine, whatever. So,
I think for me, the best way to get through this is you just have to accept and mourn, because it bums me out. Like, I still do have some worries about, like, if they stop selling consoles at all, does my digital library that I've built up over 15, like obviously I'll find ways to play those games. I've been very clear that I will find ways. But does all of the, does my gamer score go away? Does all of my, all that I've worked on over the time.
I'm with you on that aspect of it too, but like, I don't think that stuff will ever go away, because I think they'll continue to offer things digitally in their own ecosystem. Because it's not like, to shut that off would be to admit that they're making zero money there. And it's not the case. As long as they're making money there, there's no reason to turn off that source of revenue. But clearly they're making a lot more on, the competitor's platform right now. So, and because I did the thing where, like, 2024, I think, was when I decided, hey, I'm not going to buy any more physical Xbox Series X games. It's pointless. And then the beginning of this year was when I had I don't know if I'm going to buy games on the Xbox anymore, because
they made the decision.
What's the future? Yeah, they made the decision
for
me. It's like, I mean, I'll continue to have Game Pass and play games there and stuff, but like, if it's something I want to own, I'll just buy it on PlayStation. Clair Obscure is a good example of that. So, it is, but at the same time, you do have that little, like, kind of, in the back of your mind, kind of a mourning thing too, because it's like, it is a bummer. Like, at the same time.
I mean, it's bittersweet for sure. Like, I don't want to claim that, like, I'll just get over it. I don't mean with that energy, but like I always try to, like, I do my best to make these, like, the focus of my brain, just so I get through, like for instance, in my business right now, being a comedian, it used to just be enough to go do live shows and be funny. Now you have to figure out how TikTok works and how to get reels to go viral. It's a whole different world, and it's a bummer, and it sucks. I just want to go tell my jokes and go home, but you can be pissed or you can make money. That's kind of how you have to look at it. And I think for this, like, you're definitely allowed to be bummed out and pissed about it, but don't let it make you not enjoy playing video games at the same time, because, like, none of these companies give a shit about you on a personal level anyway. So just do your best to power through, play the cool games that do come out that you enjoy, and pet your dog.
We talked a lot about it before, where it's like, for a long time, Microsoft never, like, no one there seemed to know what the plan was. Like, it seemed like everybody at the top never talked to each other and made decisions independent of each other. And just like you get well, we're making a new console. Well, maybe we're not, but here's a leak of all the stuff we're working on, but that's actually not coming out. But now we're raising the prices, but we don't make physical games. And then we bought Call of Duty, but we're going to put that on PlayStation. It's just like everything they did seemed to be like the opposite of the thing they did before. And it just seems like, who is even running this thing anymore? And like Phil, like Kyle and I, we loved Phil for a very long time, but it really seems like in the past couple years, like whatever grip he had on it in the beginning, he has lost. Gone. It is gone.
Yeah.
And he's been instrumental in trying to get Xbox popular in Japan. That was never going to happen. He's trying to get Japanese stuff over here. He did a couple of those things, but they didn't take off. Like, they're just at this point now where the plan really seems to be like, it really feels like we can make more money being a publisher. And like Minecraft makes us money. All of this stuff is just going to make us money. And
I mean, it is also important to think back and remember, like, Microsoft is a software company first and always pretty much has been. So it makes sense.
But to come out with a campaign that literally says like, hey, everything's an Xbox, which means you don't need an Xbox.
Yeah.
What?
PlayStation's an Xbox.
PlayStation's an Xbox.
I do think, and in the sense of like this showcase and that graphic, like it is too soon to do that. It might be like give it another year or two.
At the very least, put Xbox first.
Does it?
First.
Yes. Do the other consoles have to be on this graphic? Can't they just be referenced during the show? Do you need to advertise for the Xbox show that we're going to show Switch 2 stuff? That's going to make Switch 2 people watch it? No. It's like, what are you doing? It's not an Xbox showcase anymore.
It's maybe on the graphic they were thinking that since Xbox is on the far right, that means it's first in their head.
You read left to right.
Listen, I'm just saying that's an idea.
They're trying to get that. They're still trying to get that Japanese market. We're reading right to left. That's what it is.
Reading back to forth.
But it's
Jesus, man.
It is a strange thing to. I get that, like, you're going to talk about stuff that's going to be on other consoles. It's not a secret anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. But you don't need to advertise that on the main graphic. When they were, this is because remember, even when they were showing stuff like Indiana Jones, they didn't put the PS5 thing till the end. Like or they don't talk about that stuff till later. But now it just seems like they don't care, and I get it because they're interested. They're very interested in selling you games for Switch 2 because people are going to be trying to buy whatever they can for the Switch 2
for sure.
But it's just. This is what happened with Sega, man. When Sonic appeared on Nintendo, it was over.
Yeah,
you knew they were never coming back from that.
Yeah.
Joe from Appleton, Wisconsin. Howdy. I'm just curious if any of you are watching The Last of Us show this season. While I'm a huge fan of the original game and a bit tepid on the sequel, I have to say the second season has almost the quality of a porn parody without the porn. The acting is tanked. You can't take Bella Ramsey seriously, and the girl playing Abby should be Ellie. Any thoughts? So I didn't even finish the first season because it was one of those, like, I watched it up to I think like second to last episode, and then it was just the kind of thing where I'm like, this is fine, but like I've played the game, like it's not doing anything more for me. For the first season, obviously I have my thoughts and stuff on the second one, but like as far as the game goes, but like, man, it has been nothing but fucking memes the last 2 weeks.
I feel like I'm watching it from all of the memes I get out of the show.
Right? Yeah. Like it's just, I don't know what they did to tank this fucking show this way, but. And I agree. I mean, we've said the same thing all the way about Abby, right? Like in the what's her name? Chris? Is it
Caitlin Deaver?
Caitlin Deaver. Okay. Like you and I behind the scenes said, like, boy, that seems like the person that should have played Ellie.
I'm telling you,
like,
man, if their roles were flipped,
I don't think you'd see.
I feel like
half of the stuff.
I feel like all of this stuff would go away.
I do too. Like it's kind of crazy. So, but yeah, I as someone who actively does not like the story of the second game, I have no. I just don't know if I'll ever
get around to watching it. I love the first game. Absolutely love the first game.
Masterpiece.
But I didn't have to watch the show because I've played the first game twice. Like I get it. And like
Mhm.
Fallout,
You've only played 2 of the 6 remasters. You
well,
call yourself a
I'm
fan?
waiting for the collection remaster because they just
Okay.
released the
There you
collection,
go.
but I need that remastered.
Got it.
And it's only $100 right now. I'd really would like to spend $130, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting.
And if you could have some live service elements, that'd be great.
Put the
Mm.
multiplayer in, and I'm in. But you know, the closest thing you could be like, well, Fallout. I watched that. I watched Fallout, and I love that. That's its own thing.
It's
I
its
had
own
no
story.
idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a telling in the universe. The Last of Us show could have easily been, like we talked about before, another story in this universe.
Mhm.
But they wanted to basically copy this game. And then for season 2, they decided, we'll copy that game. And it's just like what?
Well, and the
think-
thing for me that's been fun about this is like, I know the story. I know what's coming, and I know the parts of it that I personally don't like, but seeing the fan reaction to like, obviously the Joel stuff, at this point, I don't think it's a spoiler because everybody, like, now it's a TV show.
We're beyond
so
the
really
show episode, so
we're beyond it
spoilers
at
are
this
gone.
point. It's like, okay, that's happened. So seeing an audience who maybe hasn't played the game react to that, like, what is this? And then I've seen people like on Reddit, like, look up, okay, well, what happens at the end of this game? And then saying, I can't fucking believe that's how this game ends, and then like having those reactions, like, boy, when they do get to the end of this story, which I don't think will be this season of the show, because it really feels like they're going to stretch
break
it.
it in half.
Which is, to be fair, is what they should do. But like, boy, when they get to that, man, I think people are going to be really
I
disappointed.
just really feel like this
So-
show ended up being something that was not for people who played the games.
No,
Yeah.
they're trying. And I will say, like, from the first scene, like, they do expand and do some things that didn't happen in the game for sure, but it more or less is a pretty straightforward retelling of that game. So,
Which
So I will tell
not
you-
even knowing the specifics of stuff, I think that's just a bad idea. Why with video games in general, because it's like a video game people love because it's in the world of a video game. Like I don't want to see an exact 1-to-1
no,
of
Mhm.
something that I could play better. Like I want there to be a little creative license. Like you don't want to go so crazy and reinvent the characters and make them not the same. But like you guys said, do something in the world that like has, Easter eggs that go to it, but like
Yeah.
it expands on the universe. I don't want to see well, I'll just go play the game. That's it. Like I don't need the TV show.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I think the most compelling episode from the first season was the one that they did on Bill.
Agreed.
Right,
Yeah,
that
no,
whole
100%.
that whole episode.
That
I
wasn't
was
from the
hooked.
game.
Like
yeah.
I was in it. I was like, man, this is like really cool.
Because
how they
that
went
was
out
like the
about
one
it.
glimmer on that show where I'm like, when you get to that episode and get through it and you're like, okay, maybe they're going to add more to this story. And that's why I kept watching, because I'm like, all right, maybe there'll be enough added like this episode of this show where I'm like, all right, there's something more here. They don't really.
But again,
for
that goes back
season.
to like, I didn't watch it, but I know that episode because there were so many articles and stuff written about it. But like,
Mhm.
again, that goes to they told a different story in this universe.
Mhm.
Exactly.
There's so many other things to do.
Right? It's just
Other parts of the world that happened when this thing happened. Like, not everybody's reaction was the same. Not everybody was Joel and murdered a shitload of doctors
It's kind of
at the end of the first game that could have potentially found a cure. Like,
it's kind of like to use it as an example, not a show I checked out of a long time ago, but it's kind of like what they've done with The Walking Dead now.
Oh
You
yeah.
look at that, like the multitude of spin-offs, but they're all set in different parts of the world, different things going on. They could have, like I said, that's a perfect example of what they could have done with The Last of Us, of just like, okay, it's The Last of Us, but it's in London or something. Like, this is what happened
I think
there.
the problem.
so.
I think the biggest problem with the show is it's still run by Neil. Like it's Neil's vision,
Mm.
and he's gonna tell his story and fuck everybody else. Like it's just you're watching.
I
what he
agree with that
wants.
to an extent.
Like, I think that's what harms the show. But I don't know. Maybe when it's all said and done and they finally wrap the thing, maybe then I'll just be like, let's just do it. But
That's your way to get through that second game.
maybe I'll just play the first game again
Yeah.
and be happy that way. How about that?
There you go.
Well, by then there'll be 2 more versions of it out, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. The PS6
The
collection.
pre PS6 version. Next email we have comes to us from Kareem from San Francisco, Illinois. Hey dudes, notice you didn't talk about the GTA trailer last episode. Any thoughts? I purposely didn't put that in the news because of this email. That happened right after we recorded. Because it was that Friday. It was like, hey, the game's been delayed until 2026. And then
like, if you're going to delay it, like, why isn't there a trailer, or were you going to save the trailer for November?
Tuesday.
And it just came out immediately.
It was just like, here's a new was like almost 3-minute trailer. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I like it because I still couldn't tell you what the fuck's going on in the story of that game, and that's fine. But how does that game look the way it does?
It looks unbelievable.
And they've come out. I mean, I still don't believe it, but they have come out and said multiple times now that this is running on a base PS5, this entire trailer. And I just I can't believe
that stuff. You know, though, like that stuff doesn't mean anything because you go back in time and look at like the Uncharted 4 trailer that was on a PS4, and then what actually came out doesn't look anything even close.
True.
But who cares?
Still,
like, if the game looks half as good as this, it's crazy,
right?
Yeah, I'll tell you how they make a game look like that. You take over 10 years, and you have the most successful media thing ever to exist,
endless money
as far as money. So it's like, yeah, when you have, I bet a lot of studios could do that if they had the success and the money and
the backing,
you know, like all that. Like I 100% believe that could happen, but that's not to diminish how fucking amazing
it's crazy
all looks, but
it looks insane.
And it's just not gonna you know, this isn't my thought, but a lot of the discourse I've kind of seen is like, this will probably never happen again in the foreseeable until this kind of technology becomes cheaper to make, because you know, the bubble, like no other company either has or is willing to spend, if they do have the kind of money to do this
and that level of time.
Well, the other thing too is like they have essentially, without knowing, they have a guaranteed return on this game. Like it's guaranteed
to an extent,
that the money will come back and it will continue to be there for another decade. Like it would take something, we'll say fucking biblical, for this game to fail in any way.
I agree with you there. Yeah,
like it is impossible for this game to not sell.
Yeah, there would have to be some kind of crazy, like, and it have to be in game, not even a controversy outside of game.
No,
because people have shown that they'll support the worst human beings on the planet if they like their art. It would have to be like I don't even know. Like,
I can't think of a thing that would ever cause this game to not sell. Only 100 million copies.
Yeah, only a couple things I don't want to say out loud.
Right.
But like, but like the most depraved shit you could think of, it would have to be a mission in the game to do that. Like that's the only thing I can think of.
It's just
it's going to make so much money in spite of itself.
They
can do nothing wrong.
Don't have to put out another single screenshot from this game.
No,
for it to be the best-selling game of the last 10 years. Like not even like it's going to sell more in the first 3 months, because they're going to start tracking. You know, a lot of times it's like, well, this many copies and physical. It doesn't. This game's going to, the amount of digital pre-orders for this game is going to smash any possible number that you could even comprehend.
Yeah,
because people are going to want this game immediately.
It's already in the top because they put it up for digital pre-order on PSN, and it's already in the top like pre-order games.
Yeah,
already.
For sure.
There's no reason to do that right now
for a game that's over a year away.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter.
No, it's gonna like the money is guaranteed, and like we joked about, this game's gonna be $90, $100, doesn't matter. I think
it'll be the first. I think it'll be the first one that pushes 100.
Yeah, I would say we talked about it last time, but like $99.99. If there's a game that can do it, it's this, because you can 100%. Guarantee it will be around for 10 years. Everything else you can't. This you can't.
No, for sure.
And there's not going to be, and we talked about it last time too, Ryan. I don't think, like, is there a 7? Do we ever get to a point where there's a 7? That would be so far away. Consoles as you know them wouldn't exist.
Yeah, I think there will be, but I don't think we can comprehend what
that's the
like
PS9 from that commercial where you have to shove the marble up your nose.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is the last GTA thing ever by any means, but like, I don't know. They won't need to do anything for a while,
right?
They technically probably don't even need to like, they're still making money with GTA 5.
Yeah,
like they don't have to do this. Really.
I'm curious to see, like, do they have a path where you can move your character and stuff over to whatever the new GTA Online is?
I think it's smarter to not do that and say, if you still want to play 5 online, you can. And we also have a new one. Just keep them both running. Like, fuck it. Who cares?
I mean, they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like I said, I thought the trailer was cool. I'm interested in seeing, and we won't get this until close to release. I'm interested to seeing actual gameplay, though.
They claim some of that was in there, but again, that doesn't mean anything. I'm interested to see how they're going to handle online with this.
Yeah. I still am predicting it's going to be like 5's rollout of like, well,
it's going to be bad.
It's later.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to be at the launch of this thing. Play the campaign.
It'll come out by holiday, and it's not going to work.
No, I can see that. Remember. I mean, go all the way back in the Wayback Machine. Remember the launch of GTA Online? It was a disaster.
Impossible to play
the first month, and that was on a 360.
Jesus Christ!
Think about that.
It's disgusting to think about.
Last email we got comes to us from Brendan from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hey guys, any of you see this? Some of the Nintendo Switch games will get performance enhancements with the Switch 2, all for free. Really makes you wonder why they couldn't have just put out the other Switch 2 versions out as free updates. Think they'll continue this trend going forward, or is this just a quick wave? Thanks. I hope they do more, but like, we're talking about Nintendo and they want to make money, so.
Yeah, and that's why those initial ones didn't get it for free, is because they knew they could make you pay for those again. And,
for like Zelda,
yeah,
they know that.
Well, to be fair to the Kirby one has more content, so that is at least something else. But I think the ones that we read earlier, that might be it in terms of like Nintendo first party stuff that ever gets even like touched. I think everything else is probably up to publishers themselves.
I was kind of hoping to see, like, there's like Metroid Dread. I think would be cool if they did something for that. Some of the other like first party, true. That's not a it's like
has there been any kind of like I assume just generally games will just run better even if they don't have special.
I would assume
updates,
that they haven't
like it should have some sort of.
Yeah,
that is my finger crossing. That's been why I've been in for a Switch 2 forever, is to give myself reason to play my massive backlog.
If you see the specs of the systems like against each other, like everything is pretty jacked up compared to what a Switch was.
I think what was the thing I showed you the other day? It was like the memory bandwidth is like triple what it was. Yeah, like it's crazy.
So you would have to assume that that's going to affect things in certain ways, where at least maybe get things to a higher frame rate, or at least a stable frame rate depending on the game. But if they can get Cyberpunk running on this thing just fine.
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me when they were showing that stuff. Because like I said, I had the reaction that you were talking about earlier when I saw, I was like, yeah, we're going to go through an era of like, well, Doom shouldn't be on this. Well, this shouldn't be on. I thought Cyberpunk was one of those. But when they showed it at that event being played, I'm like, it actually runs all right.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the way I would want to personally play Cyberpunk? No. But it's not a bad way to play it.
Yeah.
So.
But when's the last time you played Cyberpunk?
2021.
Yep, there we go.
On a Series X. But it wasn't the next gen version.
That was the prefix version.
Yeah. I never bought it for PC because it never goes to the price point I'm willing to pay. So
yeah.
And I didn't play that DLC with Idris Elba that I would love to play, but it never goes to the price I want it to be. So
yeah. I mean, if they get those games runnable on Switch 2, like I feel Nintendo more than any other console has a bigger fan base that like only has a Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So they I don't think they care about the best way to play Cyberpunk, in the same way that nerds like us would really think about that before making our decisions. Some people would just be like, sweet,
it's more so the fact that you can play it. But and that's what Skyrim was on the Switch. Like, is that the version you want to play? God no. But you could.
Yeah.
You know what the one I just thought of? I remembered The Witcher.
Oh shit, that was
Oh,
on
yeah.
Switch.
Remember how bad that was?
Whoa.
That was like that meme I sent you of Hogwarts Legacy, where it was like
Mortal
all
Kombat.
the other versions, and then that was like drawing. Mortal Kombat was 11.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
I
think it was
was
11,
Witcher?
yeah.
Was Witcher one of the cloud ones?
think
No, it wasn't.
Because I know
Cloud
like,
was like Resident Evil
and
7.
Kingdom Hearts 3, I think was, or one of the Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
Was
Yeah,
that? I can't remember if Witcher was that or
shit.
not.
Witcher was famously not, and it runs it like, what is the resolution? Like 540p, like 15 frames a second. Like it's a very bad
That's
version of the
lame.
game. So
Hey, it's only $15 for the complete
hey
edition.
man,
right
there's
now.
probably a loyal diehard Nintendo fan out there that played through that entire game that way.
Man,
You're
I
gonna
forgot about
put
that.
it on YouTube, and people are gonna come after us.
Dan,
for the
you and I
Witcher
know
3.
someone that
Yeah.
had their first and probably last playthrough of Skyrim fully on the Switch.
Ugh, man.
And that was a wild
Yeah,
thing to
but
be.
yeah, now that you say that, God, Mortal Kombat, remember that? Holy shit.
Mortal Kombat was another one that like, and that was not a cloud one either. It was just like, holy shit,
That was a game that just flat out didn't work.
It didn't.
But
Remember Melina's face?
yeah. But hey, the good news is all those games that didn't work on Switch might work on Switch too.
Maybe.
I would love to see that version of Mortal Kombat on a Switch too.
On
See if
Switch
it
too
fixes
now.
it.
That'll
Yeah.
be a fun week to watch Digital Foundry.
Yeah,
and see
people
what
just
they
kind
do.
of fucking around and see what's going on.
They kind of have some of the stuff already, but I didn't put it in the news either. But like reviewers, they aren't getting a Switch until June 5th,
Mm-hmm.
so, which is crazy. Because I think
Not that
Yeah,
last time around they
matter.
had it like a month early.
Yeah, 'cause
so
I heard some of the people at IGN were kind of complaining a little bit about, because they have like their big like summer events that they're doing, and then they also
Mhm.
have to try to do the Switch 2 coverage at the same time while they're doing it. I think it's a, you know, my diamond necklace is so heavy. You have too much great video game stuff you got to cover.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's got to suck. I'm sure that's got to be very stressful.
at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, Switch. I mean, Switch. The review of the Switch 2, it doesn't mean a damn thing at all.
It's not going to stop anyone that wants to buy one from
Right.
buying one.
So yeah,
Not at all.
But the review of the Switch 2, like it becomes a problem for people like us, because like we're all gonna buy it or not buy it already. All our minds are all made up on this podcast. But if no publication puts out a review of the Switch 2, the discourse then becomes, why the fuck aren't you doing a review of the Switch 2, assholes? But like you're mad at them for not doing their job then. And so they're fucked either way.
Yeah.
you can already see that it's going to be like an 8 or a 9, and it's going to be the Switch 2 is an improvement over Nintendo's last console, but still has a little way to go. And like that's what every fucking review is going to be.
Pretty much. As always, send your emails to podcast572@gmail.com. Ryan, what do you want to plug before we're out of here?
What do I want to plug? I always forget how you put this like up tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
It'll be up
pretty much.
tomorrow.
Okay, so next week, just added, if you are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, somebody fell out and I popped in. I'm
Hell yeah.
headlining the Bricktown Comedy Club Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If this helps anyone want to come, Sunday's my birthday. So come celebrate my
See his
birthday
show in Tulsa on Sunday.
in scenic Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Ryan's flying us out. We're all going to be there on his
We're
dime.
all gonna party. We're all gonna play Borderlands together. 4-player
There you go.
Borderlands. It'll be a great
On
time.
the Switch. That's on Switch.
Yeah, it
There you
is.
go.
There we go. And then I have a little run in June, starting on June 7th. I'm in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. June 8th, Indianapolis. June 10th, Nashville. June 11th, Chattanooga. And June 12th, Panama City Beach. Tickets for all those are available on my website, cripplethreat.com. And then cripplethreat8 on all the stuff. Send me some hateful DMs about Borderlands. I want to be a part of it. I'm mad that I didn't get to be on 2 weeks ago to be a part of this. I want to be, I want to be involved. If you could insult my appearance when you do it as well, that's bonus points. Please do that.
Otherwise, we'll be back in another 2 weeks. Thank you for listening or watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.